died tragically, torn apart by an immortal. This news spread. It's going to embarrass the Long Than T clan, right? The guardian soul roared. Impossible. An immortal. It is basically impossible for Long Lock to be injured. Not to say. Long Lock will be abused and slaughtered. The time god laughed. Tell me whether it's true or not. The guardian soul is bewildered. There is no pretense. This is all true, Long Lock, but... The time god continued. This fairy doesn't know. Where did you learn such strange spells? Suppress Long Lock in every way. All moves are killer moves. Extremely cruel means. She secretly laughed at how Tran Trangan came. How can I tell you guys? The guardian soul is angry. This fairy must die. Descendants of the Dragon God clan. I will definitely hunt him down to the end of the star region. Taking the lives of his people. She continued. It's a pity I couldn't get there in time to save him. To so be it. Use my power to restore the scene at that time. All this must have an explanation in short. The guardian soul bowed its head. May received your notice. I will be quick about this. Quickly report to the supreme god and the clan. The time god replied. This is a matter within my duty. It's a pity. This continent will soon be taken away by other gods. The guardian soul said that the supreme god invited to see. It is because of the delay of the territory. The continent is of great help to the gods. So there are also quite a few enemies watching. For our territory. Alluvium does not flow to the outer fields. If you don't criticize, then this ancient continent will be handed over to you to manage first. She smiled and replied. Okay, I'll help you with this. I reluctantly accept this continent. Holding the continent in her hand, she chuckled to herself. It's done. The territory under the dragon god. All have the support of fortune. Especially one sacrificed. Will make my cultivation grow. Quite a few tricks to borrow a knife to kill this person. The more you use it, the smoother your hands. Although I'm sorry for Chang'an. But better for Long than to come directly to me. This process of claiming ownership is a bit troublesome. It takes a few minutes. But as long as the result is good, it doesn't matter. The wait of 10.000.005 is over. I just need to claim ownership smoothly. But this process of claiming ownership was unsuccessful. What happened? The guardian spirit suddenly said. An unprecedented phenomenon. Why can't I claim ownership? She lost her patience to think. I won the recognition of heaven's will first. It is to prevent other angels from taking it. Eligibility first. Use this time to travel through time. Don't go back to this period to get the continent. But, she told the guardian spirit a second time to no avail. The guardian spirit said there are only two possibilities. One is that someone is controlling the will of the continent. Ignoring heaven's will to stop us. We don't have to worry about this. With a little time, we can break through. What worries me is the second possibility. When there is no recognition from the temple. It is out of our control. That is, this ancient continent has changed hands. The time god didn't listen to this. It's like a bolt from the blue. What do you mean? That is to say, someone in these few short minutes ignored. Ignoring the gods to seize the law. Taking the ancient continent one step ahead of me? No, it's impossible that no one came here before me. The guardian spirit said. Quickly. Look at the golden light that represents successful ownership. Just now it was just a false alarm. The owner of the continent, your name will appear. The time god smiled faintly. Looking up, expecting her name to appear. The name of owner of the ancient continent appeared on the board. Tran Trong Nin, she panicked. Why is it him? Why? She gritted her teeth in anger, her face flushed. I waited. 10.000. 005, taking all the advantages of time, place, and people. Why is it him and not me? The guardian spirit asked her who this person was. She replied, Tran Trong Nin. In these few short minutes. What on earth did you do? 5 minutes ago, among Trong Nin's group, something was wrong. Long Lu clearly just died. So heaven's will of this place has recognized a new owner. Heaven's will of the ancient continent, what is this? Trong Nin pondered. He didn't see anyone but heard a faint sound. At such a long distance before. If you can put pressure on heaven's will, then your strength cannot be underestimated. That fat guy is far from being able to compare, not to mention. These people are beings of a higher dimension. Fong Tan Duong looked up at the sky. So many angels have come. What should we do to be able to take this land back from them? The gods gathered above. Greetings, gods. This place has been taken over by the time god, Tien Vong Tran. What? She took it over? I am the flame heavenly sovereign. What will that time god do to the continent below? You don't know either? If you're willing to accept my ownership, I can protect this continent. Heavens will part the clouds, but I have just been claimed. Once the transfer is detected by the time god. That Hu Tien Vong Tran. She is very good at fighting. But what's the use of being good at fighting? She's just a wandering god with no backing. If you side with me, I will help you become a stronger continent. Even a powerful land. Heavens will heard about the powerful land. And was immediately attracted. Turning the land of Mani into a powerful land. Queen of the night. You're quite generous. She replied, it's just a small favor. It's not really an investment. On the contrary. In this situation where the gods lack territory, having one more will definitely help me. Heavens will pondered. Currently, the ancient continent is indeed the land of Mani. The lowest level existence in the entire starfield. If it can really become a powerful land, then the benefits it brings will be endless. Heavens will replied. But to be claimed again, you had to give up most of the fortune that the ancient continent has accumulated. At that time, this place will become extremely desolate. Even the lowest level land of Magi cannot compare. If you play tricks or the time god comes knocking. Ah, Tran Trong in his below. Listening to the negotiations of the gods. She said, the high and mighty gods also like to draw big cakes. He continued, according to. I think you'd better consider cooperating with me. After I become the master of the ancient continent. Heavens will naturally have to listen to me. The gods above scoffed, cooperate with you? Ha ha ha. A mere immortal. Delusion of discussing cooperation with the angels. This is really the funniest story I've ever heard. Heavens will look down on Trong Yin. Don't be delusional anymore. I am the heavenly will, from ancient times to the present, I have only recognized angels as masters. Trong Yin spoke up. I gave you a chance, don't regret it. Trong Yin thought anxiously. This heavenly will soon hand over the continent to someone else. We must quickly find a way to resolve this situation. I don't have much time left. Suddenly, Trong Yin's number one host said, leave it to me. I know everything from your memories. Guess what I saw? The two hosts talked to each other. They can communicate telepathically. Host number one said, I just found the 9 heavenly star Luo formation arranged by Tran. Duck Than Su, although it was destroyed by that damned god before. But under the rubble, there are remnants of the entire formation. After seeing this formation, I immediately had an idea. Host No, 2 smiled, so that's how it is, you've already passed on the memory. It's an idea, NDT0, number 1 host, No. 2 host replied, okay. Next, No, 2, you support me. At this time, host number 1 used the 10,000 beings to say. It's been a long time since I've used the system's features. First, leave a mark on this path for Thuong Hai. To avoid the appearance of human irresistible factors, currently taking advantage of both. Restoring the connection of the teleportation array. Expanding the invincible domain to the ancient continent. It seems easy. But it takes one person to stay on the continent. Connecting to the 9 continents with me. This person must be proficient in teleportation powers. Space, Thuong and No 2 said, Thuong Hai. Things will be resolved quickly. Don't forget to tell your junior sister. Thuong Hai was surprised, it's been resolved? Thuong Hai said, I can contact her. Thuong Nin, is there anything you want to say? She asked Thuong Nin, half believing, half doubting. He replied, tell her this. As soon as Thuong Hai opened the communication token, she heard Han Hai's voice screaming. Senior sister. I'm at the 9 continents teleportation array, why is it broken? I can't go back. What is this? Han Hai anxiously inquired about Thuong Nin. I heard Thuong Nin's voice. Are you by his side? Are you okay? Thuong Nin called out to Han Hai. Let's break up. I have someone else in my heart. You did a great job, we're not compatible, stay in 9 continents. Don't come back. Han Hai screamed after hearing that. What? What? While Thuong Hai listened. Her face flushed with embarrassment. Thuong Hai blushed in a thought. Flashed through her mind. Someone in his heart. The only woman beside him is me. Could he be? Mumbling like that. Could it be that he likes me too? What should I do? Junior sister. She's going to go crazy when she finds out. Han Hai held the communication token, trembling. She looked down in despair. Han Hai's tears fell like rain. She screamed, cursing the scum. As she was cursing. In the sky. Where Han Hai was. Master's teleportation formation appeared. She turned around and said. It's Master's 9 heavenly star Luo formation. Thank goodness. Someone is fixing it. I had to give it my all. To connect to this teleportation array. Han Hai was furious. Tran Trong En, don't you dare dump me. If anyone's dumping anyone, it's me dumping you. Host number 1. On this side, he was trying his best to restore the formation. Go to Kyushu. 6 Tran and Jiang, 2 Taisin Lin creatures spread toward the lower realm. The teleportation formation is gradually recovering. Everyone turned their eyes to it. Look at that. Everyone was surprised. The teleportation formation destroyed by the gods is gradually being restored. What's going on? The angels in the sky grimaced. An unusual force is being generated on the planet. What about this teleportation formation? I'm afraid other gods are secretly intervening. Trying to forcefully seize the ancient continent? At this time, between the ancient continent and Kyushu, the continent has been connected. The gods above talked about forcefully seizing it. Ha ha ha, you're overthinking it. This is just a desperate attempt at survival by a bunch of ants. The other gods agreed. That's right, the angels said. The most stable way to take over the continent is to claim ownership. Other than that, if you want to forcefully invade, you will definitely be devoured by the laws of the star realm. A land like Mani is not worth the high price any angel would pay. The entire Tronin is restoring the path to Kyushu. Suddenly, someone uninvited appeared behind them. The angels rushed up here to investigate. Wouldn't going up there reveal the truth? An angel exclaimed. Why is it another little demon? Where did he get this kind of power from? It seems this little beast has quite a few secrets. We haven't even avenged the death of the divine messenger yet. He was killed by him. The angel attacked as he spoke. Although this soul fragment of mine is not even 1/10,000th of my true body. It's more than enough to destroy him. Tronin was attacked by that guy. But this attack was nothing to him. Is that all? The angel was furious. You wretch. You dare look at me with those despicable eyes? Your appearance is exactly the same as that immortal in the lower realm. Is it a clone? The angel continued boasting arrogantly. Long Lu, whom you killed, was the lowest ranking among all the angels. He just relied on his father's reputation to act recklessly. And we are angels who have lived through countless aeons. Reaching the peak, escaping the cycle of reincarnation in this world. And ultimately holding the heavenly Tao. You are just a little demon. In our eyes, you are as small as an ant. I wouldn't even need to use any effort to crush you. These angels were too arrogant. Emperor Thuong Duongtan used 1% of his power. Isn't that too degrading? The other angel replied, interesting, interesting. Crushing a worm. And using high-intensity divine magic. Only I would do that. The system chimed in. Host, all the divine beings who have attacked you have been saved to the data storage and will never be deleted. Your clone is in danger. Stay away from the gods' attacks. If I run away, the teleportation formation behind me will be lost. Thuong Nin turned and left. Thuong Hai saw this. And looked at him. It seemed like something was wrong with Thuong Nin. The system said, Host. Your demon clone has been destroyed by the gods. Consciousness merging. Memories synchronized, 2 becoming 1. He replied, I know, the pain has already arrived. The system continued, that's done too. Thuong Nin laughed heartily and said, very good. First, cover the entire Kyushu continent for me. System understood. Deducting corresponding domain points, coverage successful. Thuong Ninh made another request. Then combine all my remaining domain fragments. Before that, form a domain card. Designate the invincible domain as the target unit to expand the domain to the ancient continent. The system said helplessly, "There's such a thing?" Host, you. Thuong Ninh challenged the system. What? Is there anything you can't do? The system retorted, Host, you. There's nothing I can't do yet. Expanding domain, successful. Thuong Ninh had a cold expression. Final order. Exhaust all my domain points. Cover the ancient continent and seize this land for me. System obeys. The system announced, complete coverage of the ancient continent achieved. Host, please enjoy. Thuong Ninh continued, wait. Until I wipe out these garbage gods. The angel sneered. Ha ha ha. He said he wants to wipe us out. What should we do? You insignificant ant. Suddenly, all the angels cried out, ah. It can't be stopped. My divine magic. Why is it ineffective? Wait, how? The symbol of continent ownership appeared on him. Thuong Ninh's eyes turned cold at this moment. He glared at the angels with murderous intent. The burnt angel screamed, how is this possible? Who are you? The people below watched the battle in fear. The system announced, Host has slain the soul fragment of flame heavenly venerate. Generous rewards are available for selection. Host has slain the soul fragment of death god. Generous rewards are available for selection. Upon hearing this, Thuong Ninh looked into the distance and sighed in relief. Congratulations to the host for conquering the ancient continent. Mission complete. The three heavenly Daos stared at Thuong Ninh. Can we take back what we just said? The heavenly Daos, now filled with fear, pleaded with Tran. Lord Tran Thuong Ninh, please forgive this lowly one for being blind. From now on, you are the sole master of the ancient continent. Thuong Ninh looked at the heavenly Dao and replied, oh, didn't you say you would never accept me as your master? The heavenly Dao replied in fear. Those were just careless words from this lowly one. Please forgive me, master? The heavenly Dao thought to itself. To be able to instantly obliterate the divine clones, he must be concealing his true power. He's probably at least at the god level. Moreover, he bypassed the laws to forcefully seize the continent. And he doesn't even fear me. He clearly isn't afraid of retaliation. This kind of existence, I must flatter him no matter what. Hearing this, Tran Ninh sat down, resting his chin on his hand, and said, it's a pity. I still prefer your previous unyielding demeanor. More, the heavenly Dao panicked. Master, the heavenly Dao then turned to the immortals and said, please, say something nice for me. What I said before, was actually to protect the ancient continent. It's completely in line with your goals. Everyone was taken aback by the heavenly Dao's plea. Even the heavenly Dao has to beg for mercy one day. Thuong Hai looked at Tran Ninh, her face flushed. What kind of existence is this man? To be able to create such a miracle again and again, he surprises everyone. Phong Tan Duong turned to Tran Ninh and spoke up for the heavenly Dao. Well, Tran Ninh, what the heavenly Dao said isn't wrong. Tran Ninh stood in the distance, hands on his hips, and replied. On the contrary, I feel like someone who takes the lead like this should be dealt with directly. Leaving no future troubles, the system suddenly chimed in. Calculation complete. Host's remaining domain points. 1054, after killing Long Lu, the host can choose from the following rewards. First, 10% progress in analyzing the angel clone. Second, the title, Dragon Slayer. The system reminded Tran Ninh, right. Currently, the Dragon God clan's resentment towards you has reached 20%. Once the resentment reaches 100%, the host will be hunted down by the Dragon God clan throughout the divine realm. There will be nowhere to run. Oh, choose one reward from two? Although the effects of this title are very useful, after entering the divine realm, you may not encounter every Dragon God clan. Once you encounter another clan, the title will disappear. The backlash isn't as good as the angel clone. Tran Ninh spoke up, I choose the first reward. Besides, completing the mission will definitely yield more domain point rewards. Currently, Kyushu and the ancient continent are entirely under my control. There's no need to rush for domain points for now. The system continued, understood. 10% progress in analyzing the angel clone has been received. Remaining rewards have been refreshed. Please continue selecting, host. Tran Ninh said, no need to choose further. Convert everything into progress for analyzing the angel clone. Let me quickly finish analyzing the angel. The system announced, conversion successful. Host's current progress in analyzing the angel clone is at 10.5%. Since this time is different from before. The system rewards the clone with 1 minute of invincible domain usage. Within the domain, hearing the system reward, Tran Nin expressed his dissatisfaction. What? 10.5%? Are you mistaken, system? Wasn't the reward for Long already 10%? Why does the death reward for the remaining angels only add up to 0.5? The system answered, because those were merely clones. If you can kill the true bodies of those gods, host, the rewards will naturally be more generous. He furrowed his brows in anger. It seems I need to quickly lure out the angel clones. Or perhaps head straight into the angel's lair. And eliminate their true bodies. At that moment, thoughts of Fuang Hai surfaced in his mind. But it's alright. At least the matter is mostly resolved now. Fuang Hai won't die anymore. However, I still need to obtain the remaining power of the divine artifact. Tran Nin stood silently, deep in thought. The god of time. Something isn't right. If this was a trap from the very beginning, then I can only seize the power of the divine artifact directly from you. The ancient continent belongs entirely to me now. That little thief will definitely return once she realizes it. Tran Nin instructed the system, keep a close watch for me. The moment the god of time's aura disappears from within the invincible domain, notify me immediately. The god of time, consumed by rage, cursed. Tran Nin, you deserve to die. I was initially going to spare you. But if you dare to scheme against me, then you don't even deserve to exist. She channeled her spiritual energy, preparing to depart. Observing her departure, the soul guardian thought. With heavenly calamity Tran's power, he could crush her with a mere flick of his wrist. A single move from him could even send shockwaves through the fabric of spacetime. Across the entire world. Regardless of his methods. Bypassing the divine halt to seize control of the ancient continent. Once heavenly calamity Tran unleashed his full might, she would undoubtedly meet a gruesome end. The soul watched as she disappeared. However, there were many unanswered questions surrounding Long Lu's demise. Perhaps she was behind it all, orchestrating some wicked scheme. It's crucial to inform the clan quickly and prevent her escape. Heavenly calamity Tran stepped through the teleportation formation, venturing into the starry expanse to gaze upon the ancient continent she had lost. Upon her arrival, heavenly calamity Tran appeared surprised by the transformations that had befallen the ancient continent. Furrowing her brows, she observed the continent and mumbled. How did the ancient continent become so different? The spiritual energy here has skyrocketed. It's a world apart from the barren Mani wasteland it once was. This place, it can actually withstand 10% of my power now? How is this possible? What exactly transpired on this continent? The system, at that moment, detected the spiritual energy of the god of time infiltrating the continent. A smug smile spread across heavenly calamity Tran's face as she declared. Tran Trong Nen, I will make you tell me how this ancient continent became yours. I will make you kneel at my feet. Before she could finish her sentence, a hand shot towards her with lightning speed, grabbing her by the neck. Trong Nen choked heavenly calamity Tran. Her eyes narrowed coldly at him. Without a word, Trong Nen spun around and ruthlessly flung her down. Choked and then thrown. Heavenly calamity Tran scrambled to her feet, trembling, thinking. What just happened? I couldn't even sense his attack. Before she could fully stand, heavenly calamity Tran sensed something amiss. Her brows furrowed, her pupils constricting. A god, easily suppressed. Trong Nin materialized behind her, stating, Little thief. She glared at him, her face darkening. Heavenly calamity Tran, enraged, roared. Tran Trong Nen, you lowly scum, how dare you? She slammed a palm towards Trong Nen, shouting, Get lost. Her blow shattered the surrounding ground. Trong Nen allowed heavenly calamity Tran to unleash her attack. Instead of dodging, he taunted. Is that all you've got? Heavenly calamity Tran's jaw dropped slightly. Unable to believe her eyes. Trong Nen had actually neutralized her attack with such ease. Her face contorted, veins bulging, sweat pouring down. How is this possible? I'm a god. How can a mere immortal possess the power to suppress me? Trong Nen replied, it doesn't stop there. He seized her by the neck, pinning her to the ground. Your divine techniques are mine now. The system is analyzing. Targeting the God of Time's exclusive divine technique. Commencing analysis and replication. Heavenly Calamity Tran retorted angrily. Don't even dream of it. I wield the power of spacetime. Unless you're a god, attempting to seize it without the innate talent will only lead to backlash. Moreover, the system announced. Replication complete. 100% success. The power of spacetime. Usable range. Is limited to within the invincible domain. Before Heavenly Calamity Tran could finish her sentence, Trong Nen showed her her own divine technique being used by a mere immortal. What did you say? Trong Nen stood up and turned to leave. Heavenly Calamity Tran, still suppressed by the divine technique, trembled as she stammered, you. Trong Nen used Heavenly Calamity Tran's own divine technique. What a formidable technique. Now, the future of this ancient continent has been completely altered. Even the flow of time itself will undergo unimaginable changes. I imagine your mind is in complete disarray right now. All of this stems from your summoning me to this timeline. You are now of no use to me, dead or alive. I will decide your fate based on your performance. Let's see what you're made of. Heavenly Calamity Tran clutched her chest, suppressed. Her face flushed crimson, thinking, this isn't how things were supposed to be. The one I personally brought here is plotting against me? And he's a being transcending even gods. Observing her expression, Trong Nen teased. What's with that look on your face? It's as if we've already. Heavenly Calamity Tran's blush deepened. Don't you dare. Suddenly, Thuong Hai's voice called out to Trong Nen. Something's wrong. Trong Nen turned to look at Thuong Hai. Thuong Hai spoke in a panic. The ancient continent. The ancient continent is under attack. Countless angel clones have descended upon it. They claim this place possesses immense destiny. What are we going to do? The skies above the continent are in complete chaos. There are so many angel clones here. Heavenly Calamity Tran looked at Trong Nen and sneered. Trong Nen, what good is your fighting prowess now? Trong Nen thought, still clinging to your act. Insisting on playing the role of an angel. In front of everyone. Heavenly Calamity Tran continued. You and I have no backing, no forces to rely on. No matter how strong our individual power is. Can it withstand the combined assault of so many angels? Your precious ancient continent will inevitably be carved up by the gods. You can't protect it, Trong Nen. Trong Nen chuckled and replied. Listen carefully. It's them who should be truly afraid. Not me. Still refusing to yield even after all this? If I had more time, I'd tear that mouth of yours apart. With that, Trong Nen left. Heavenly Calamity Tran glared at his back. Fool. Thinking you can defy all the angels just because you want to fight? How delusional. You overestimate yourself. Trong Nen. Trong Nen ascended into the sky. Chuckling. It'll just take a flicker of brilliance to wipe out all those angels. 30 seconds earlier, the angel clones were discussing amongst themselves. Trong Nen, master of the continent? Never heard of him. The god of slaughter, a massive axe resting on his shoulder, had his arm around the tree goddess' waist. He warned. Don't underestimate him. To seize this continent. Right under the noses of those angel clones. He must be at least a demigod. The tree goddess scoffed. In a remote star realm like this, they're all just a bunch of weaklings. He's not even worthy of carrying my shoes. Moreover, I suspect he might be using his true body to descend. Otherwise, there's no way he could bypass the divine hall and forcibly seize this place. The god of slaughter nodded in agreement. Makes sense. The 8 great divine clans of the divine realm have long forbidden angels from descending with their true bodies. This guy is most likely a wandering god. Without any background or support. A lowly wandering god. Daring to monopolize the great destiny of this place. So we don't have to worry about the future anymore. The god of death said that no title had come. It's not even an early stage god. He's also a wandering god. Which means he can kill at will. The god of death shouted. Everyone! Let's join hands and kill the god of this place. Seize the fortune. Kill. Everyone below looked up at the sky in fear. So many angels. And they're working together. At this moment, Trong and also quickly rushed up from below. The angels above were preparing to descend and kill. But then they saw a strange light rushing up. Trong, his body filled with immortal energy, rushed forward. Smiling and shouting. Welcome, everyone. Huang Hai looked up from below, extremely worried. If he continues to fight like this, his body will definitely not be able to hold on. Tian Vong Tran, peering from the dust, said. He's arrogant and disrespectful. Such arrogance and conceit. He will definitely pay a heavy price for this. She approached Tran Trongen. Even if you have a realm beyond gods. But with this number of gods, sooner or later, you will be exhausted and die. Hearing this, Huang Hai knelt down to the supreme god. Please, I beg you, save us. Please save Tran Trongen, save the ancient continent. Tian Vong Tran replied, wasted. I even granted you the power of a divine artifact. Don't you feel pathetic saying these words? On what basis? Do I have to offend so many angels to save him? One person will definitely die. Huang Hai pleaded, we don't have to fight to the death. I live, I make more friends. It's also important for enemies to become fewer. Even if it's just once, we were friends. Being able to help him is also a good thing, I beg you. Tian Vong Tran listened, put her hand to her chin in thought, and said conversely. There's some logic in that. Tian Vong Tran's expression changed as she exclaimed, but I refuse. What good are friends? Will they help you in times of need? You're too kind. That's why you end up with such a tragic fate. Tian Vong Tran approached Huang Hai and whispered. Moreover, this vast continent of yours was discovered by the gods long ago. Now, in order to absorb that great fortune, they will definitely destroy this place completely. The ancient continent is destined to be destroyed. You don't need to beg me anymore. Originally, if you had obediently let me take over this continent, you wouldn't have to suffer this misery at all. You could even go peacefully. Huang Hai knelt on the ground, helpless. Tian Vong Tran continued, and all of this is because of Tran Trong Nin. That damned Huang Hai lowered her head and said, Supreme God Trong Nin, he came here, went through big and small battles. He may say otherwise, but deep down, he must be very tired. He didn't ask why. He saved us from the fiery pits of hell. He didn't ask why. He rescued us from the fiery pits of hell. He shouldn't have to die a gruesome death. He is the hero of all of us. Huang Hai kowtowed to Tian Vong Tran. On behalf of everyone on the ancient continent, I beg you. Ridiculous. Tian Vong Tran approached Huang Hai, lifted her chin, and said, how about this? You go find Tran Trong Nin. Tell him to hand over all authority of this continent to me. I will conveniently help him overcome this tribulation. Trong Nin came to you, said he wanted to help I cross the tribulation. Trong Nin quickly had killed all the clones of the angels. He walked slowly towards the other two, his itch acting up again. Do you want to die? Tian Vong Tran turned to Trong Nin and said, haha, Tran Trong Nin, you can't hold on anymore, want to come beg me? Alright then, as long as you obediently kneel down and kowtow 3 times to this old lady, then I, in my great mercy, will lend you a hand. How about that? Trong Nin smirked, puzzled. Kneel before you? Trong Nin pointed to the sky and said, Tian Vong Tran, are you brain dead? Is that why you don't understand clearly? Or, why don't you take a good look and then continue talking? Tian Vong Tran looked up, muttering, look at what? Tian Vong Tran, now looking up at the sky, broke out in a cold sweat. The sky was now clear, the gods were gone. Trong Nin stretched out his hand smugly. Those angel clones had been defeated by him one by one. Huang Hai was still kneeling on the ground. She looked up, one surprise after another. Everyone was surprised. The gods descended alone, while Trong Nin was miraculous. Truly miraculous, we're safe now. Tian Vong Tran didn't understand what had just happened. What in the world just happened? She used her divine technique to rewind time and see the scene. Facing the angel clones, Trong Nin said, if you're capable, come at me yourselves. Tian Vong Tran thought, the observers were swept away. The gods' powers were all immense. Why did they disappear in the blink of an eye? Tian Vongtran reviewed the previous battle. She was surprised that Trong Nin alone had killed all those gods. In the blink of an eye, Trong Nin, brimming with immortal energy, said, "Not enough people for me to kill." Tian Vongtran exclaimed in shock, "Damn! How could Trong Nin's power be so terrifying?" The gods were caught off guard. "Transfer a bit of our true power here. Let him have a taste of our might." They're all gone. In just a blink of an eye, the angels of these star regions have all been wiped out. Tian Vongtran looked at Trong Nin, thinking, furthermore, they were all instantly killed by him. Trong Nin looked at her and said, "I heard everything you just said." Tian Vongtran bit her lip. "What kind of monster have I summoned here?" Tian Vongtran quickly switched to flattery. "Is there something? Just tell me, I can definitely help you." Trong Nin looked at Tian Vongtran's flattering demeanor. Speechless, he said, "I actually want to ask you. Is there any way to attract more angels here? Preferably the extremely powerful kind." Tian Vongtran was taken aback. Hearing Trong Nin's words, Huang Hai was also surprised. "You want even more angels to come here?" Tian Vongtran replied seriously, "Yes, yes." At the Dragon God clan, something happened. The two young masters of the Dragon God clan, something happened. The two young masters, Long Lu, died unexpectedly. The god of time and space originally wanted to intervene and take over the continent. But it was snatched away by someone named Trong Nin. Dragon God clan, two young masters, Walong. He sat on his chair, calmly replying, "Oh?" He raised his voice and said, "I always thought that it was Tian Vongtran and that I who conspired to kill my two younger brothers. To dare touch the people of our Dragon God clan, they will have to pay the price." The Soul Guardian asked, "Young masters, do you have a plan?" Manhwa stood up abruptly and said, "I want to use the Dragon God technique, the 10 Directions Annihilation Formation." The Soul Guardian exclaimed in fear. Once this Dragon God technique is used on that star region, all planets within the ancient continent will be completely destroyed, but there are many territories they're governed by early stage gods. If we do this, we will definitely incur their enmity. At that time, those gods will all come for revenge. Young masters, please reconsider. Manhwa replied, "My elder brother isn't here, I'm in charge." A bunch of ants. What's there to be afraid of, when you have enough strength? Ants are only fit to be crushed underfoot. On Trong Nin's side, Tian Vongtran thought, this man is ruthless. He threatened me, if I don't lure in gods above early stage. He'll deal with me. If I were a clone right now, I wouldn't be afraid of him. But this body is connected to more than half of my divine power. So I can only temporarily obey his orders. Yushan, He arrives. Tian Vongtran, you transmitted to me. Saying you want to give this ancient continent to me, is that true? Angel He Gatekeeper of the sixth heaven, mid-stage angel. A wandering god with no background, wanting to advance. He has to greet him and his clan. Tian Vongtran replied to Angel He, "It's true." Trong Nin stood by. Seeing an angel arrive, his face lit up with joy. In this era of time and space, it won't be long before I reward him with a few planets. Get him to help me. Only then can I ascend to mid-stage angel. Yushan He laughed heartily. "Ha ha ha, you're quite resourceful. That grudge between us will end here today." The angel made his move. Trong Nin was also ready to strike him down. Tian Vongtran's darkened as she thought, the space-time era. This time, it's completely messed up. Yushan He's clone was destroyed. Huang Hai, the immortals, were all stunned by his power. Yushan He was enraged at being tricked. He slammed his hand down beside his chair and roared. "Tian Vongtran, you dare deceive me? You and I will be enemies to the death." The system announced. "Congratulations, host, for killing an angel clone. Yushan He's domain points have been automatically converted. Exchanged for 1.3 angel clones." Trong Nin rubbed the back of his neck, smiling and said, "Fighting 10 of these alone is more fun than those scattered gods." The system has finished its calculations. Your current total accumulated angel clone points is 12.1%. Trong Nin was frustrated. Those angels before were really cheapskates, idiots. Don't exchange everything for clones. Leave me some domain points for other things. Trong Nin was excited like a child. Hurry up, next. Tian Vongtran held her face. I'm not going to be able to survive in the god realm after this. If this keeps up, I'm as good as dead. Again and again. Tian Vongtran finished calling for the Qingling gods. Shuailan said, "Long time no see, Sister Vongtran." Sister Shuaijia asked eagerly, "I heard you have a big surprise you want to show us, what is it?" Tian Vongtran said to Trong Nin. "My friends are few, they count as one person. Please, aim high and strike lightly." Trong Nin, standing behind Tian Vongtran, flicked his finger, instantly taking down the clones of the Qingling gods. The two sisters on the other side hugged each other and cried, "She tricked us. She's so evil. Wah, the ship of friendship has capsized." Trong Nin grew more and more excited. "Hurry up, call the next one." Tian Vongtran covered her face. "I won't be able to show my face in the god realm anymore." Trong Nin lamented, "Your connections are too weak. Summoning this few gods isn't enough for me to kill. So useless." Tian Vongtran cried, "Do you think they're cabbages? Have some humanity. We are angels. Feng Qingyang, a million times more beautiful. To think that we, as dignified angels, would one day be slaughtered like pigs. It seems living long enough really does make anything possible. Tran Trong Nin is stronger than we imagined. His strength can be said to be immeasurable." Feng Qingyang smiled proudly, embarrassed. "Just thinking that I'll be his master from now on. I'll be so awesome in the Dragon God clan." The Dragon God clan members began to make their move. They were setting up a formation. The Soul Guardian reported, "Second young master, there's news of a strange divine power arriving at the ancient continent. Only two wandering gods. One of them is Tran Trong Nin, in his true form." Hua Long replied, "So what if he's in his true form? My foolish brother's grudge must be avenged." Hua Long, with a ferocious expression, ordered, "Attack." A bright light flashed within the star region. The formation appeared. Tian Vongtran smiled, "This aura is the Dragon God technique, 10 Directions God Annihilation Formation." Everyone looked up at the formation. The divine formation shone directly upon them. Trong Nin said, "Oh, pretty powerful." Fuang Hai covered her mouth and replied, "Even without encountering a high-level angel, one can still sense the power of this great formation." Tian Vongtran explained, "You see, that's one of the 3 great divine techniques of the Dragon God clan. Relying on this technique alone, they conquered countless star regions, sent countless angels running for their lives. All early-stage angels under this formation have practically no way to break it." Trong Nin asked, "Why?" Fuang Hai continued to explain. "Because under the cover of this great formation, all things in the world lose their function. And all divine power of angels within this region will be unusable. Let alone fighting, even escaping is a luxury. We finally got rid of all the angels. But now someone even stronger has come." The immortals cried out, "What should we do? How can we stop them from invading us?" Fuang Qingyang exclaimed, "It's over. It's all over." Tian Vongtran thought, "As much as I want to see Tran Trong Nin's embarrassed and terrified expression, I still need to find the right opportunity to escape. You idiots, I'm out of here." Tian Vongtran prepared to make her escape. But suddenly, she realized she had no divine power left. The formation wasn't even complete yet. What's going on? Is there another mysterious force sealing me? Trong Nin spoke up, "Tian Vongtran, you really are an incorrigible dog who can't stop eating shit. Don't think I don't know that you secretly sent our location to the Dragon God clan." Trong Nin grabbed Tian Vongtran's hair and pulled her back. "You pretended to cooperate with me. But in reality, you were stalling for time. Secretly leaking information about this place. Wasn't it all just to let the Dragon God clan's ultimate move? Eliminate me, and then you'd take the opportunity to escape?" Tian Vongtran, her hair being pulled, screamed, "Ah! Tran Trong Nin, let go. This isn't some high-level dimensional being that you can just. It was me who lured him here. You're the one who's scared now." "You're right. After all, no wandering god would dare to directly confront them. Tian Vongtran, I can't defeat you, so this Dragon God clan should be able to take care of you." Trong Nin looked at Tian Vongtran with murderous intent and said, "Afraid of them? I'm itching to wipe them out." Trong Nin continued, "To be honest, I was worried that you'd run out of ways to lure in stronger opponents for me. I didn't expect you to be quite capable." Trong Nin declared with surging murderous aura. "Then let them come. I'll beat them until they don't dare even look at this land." Tian Vongtran was horrified. Unbelievable. The power of this barrier. I can't probe it at all. But even if the power of that great formation could be ignored, All formations are set. Wall Long commanded, annihilate it. As Wall Long's attack descended upon the ancient continent, Trong Nin raised his hand and commanded, consume it. Immediately after, Wall Long's attack was instantly neutralized by Trong Nin with ease. The system announced. External divine power absorbed. Automatically converted into corresponding domain points. Trong Nin, having absorbed all the divine power from the formation, said, I see. It seems the opponent didn't invest enough in that formation. The price was too small. Tien Vong Tran, breaking out in a cold sweat, looked at Trong Nin. How is this possible? The barrier he cast. It can actually absorb the divine power of the God Annihilation formation. The Great Formation. That suppresses all things. It can't affect him at all. Wall Long, arms crossed, observed and said, This ant has some strength, but that's all. Wall Long commanded, unleash full power. Let those ants see what true crushing power is. The subordinates obeyed. Yes, sir. This time, another attack, stronger, faster, larger, descended upon the ancient continent. Trong Nin looked up. Assessing the situation, it seems they're getting a bit hasty. The people behind him panicked. Here comes a bigger one. Trong Nin raised his hand and said, then taste this. He had already prepared another move to deal with that Wall Long. The two sides clashed violently. Suddenly, Wall Long's formation was reversed. This was something no one expected. Wall Long, seeing his formation being reversed, cursed, damn it. What's going on? Is this something an early stage god can do? We unleashed the Dragon God technique, brought down a devastating formation, but couldn't even scratch the opponent. He can even use the power of our formation to suppress us. Trong Nin pointed to the sky. System, watch carefully. How to counterattack without moving. And even use the domain to kill the opponent. Convert all absorbed power. Expand the barrier. Expand it 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold. Return it 10-fold. Wall Long's formation shattered. The 10 Directions God Annihilation formation was broken? It couldn't even harm a single hair on them. Wall Long's subordinates were sent flying, coughing up blood. Cough, cough. Wall Long's eyes widened. I never thought that in this wretched place a god of such level could exist. Feng Qingyam looked up at the sunny sky. Stuttering, Invincible. Trong Nin stood under the sun. The sunlight illuminating him, making him look radiant. The Soul Guardian turned to Wall Long and said, Second young master, this. Wall Long turned his head and instructed, we're leaving, now. Tell our people to erase all traces related to the Dragon God clan. In this dimension. Wall Long commanded, destroy all boundary territories. All the vast lands under our control. So they can't trace anything back to us. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. The Soul Guardian said. But second young master. Didn't you just say you wanted to show them what true crushing power is? Wall Long, realizing his mistake, said angrily. I didn't say that. I said it was just some early stage gods. Damn it. Who knew there was such a powerful god hidden there? At least high stage. Wall Long said nervously, I'm only at mid-stage. If I really provoke a being like that, things will be very troublesome. Long Lu actually provoked a being of that level. What a fool. Long Lu, as he left, said. This battle has severely depleted our Dragon God clan's energy. Our divine bones were shattered by that power surge. It will take tens of thousands of years for us to recover. After we leave, this star region will change hands. Tran Trong Nin. You are truly powerful. It seems we might meet again. In the future God War. Trong Nin looked at the people behind him, who were rejoicing in their victory. He smiled, it settled. Time to head back. Sunlight poured down. The ancient continent was truly revived. Voices chanted, get ready. 1, 2. Trong Nin was surrounded by the joyful crowd. Wait. What are you all doing? The crowd lifted Trong Nin high into the air, cheering. Trong Nin, thank you for saving us. With bright smiles, the people said. Without you, we wouldn't know what to do. Let's hear it for our hero. Chang Nan is a little shy. 9 prefectures out of 10,000,005 after. Always the old man protects you like you said. And this time, I'm just taking on the responsibility of others. He chuckled, aesthetically pleasing to those trying to protect the world. I also protect his future. Tian Vongtran looked at everyone cheering for Chang Nan and said, I didn't expect him to really be able to beat her. Regretfully aesthetic. Tran Trong Nan has such heavenly means. Why don't I team up with him together to seek development? Have him support him from behind. After I stepped into the God Trong, GI will not be as cramped as before. Tian Vongtran walked back to the crowd and said loudly. Quickly let go of Truong Nen. You guys are so rude. The crowd was startled and made Chang Nan fall on his face. Chong Nin was so angry that he screamed. Are you guys kidding me? The whole mess apologized. We didn't mean to. Tian Vongtran ran to help him up. Chong Nin is not injured, is he? These idiots really don't make people worry less. You wait, I will teach them a lesson. Chong Nen saw that Vongtran was behaving unusually. Suspiciously asked, what are you doing? Tian Vongtran said self-deprecatingly. Am I that bad in your heart? And how dare I be rude in front of you? I have witnessed firsthand your strength and character. I want Chang Nan to narcissistically reply. If you want to flatter, you have to queue up later. Aesthetics like that are really good. But what are you rushing for? Is an angel scary? Tian Vongtran angrily thought. If I beat you, I will definitely kill you. Tian Vongtran pulled Chong Nan's hand. You follow me a bit. I have something important to tell you. This time off in high look. Theo called Chong Nin. Chong Nin heard the call, stopped and turned to look at her. Tian Vongtran hurriedly said, don't mind her. She didn't participate in this. We can. Suddenly, Chang Nan reached out and took Huang Hai's hand. She blushed when she was pulled. The three looked at each other speechless. Tian Vongtran spoke up. What are you doing with her? Chong Nin replied, isn't it about love? Why can't you let others see? Tian Vongtran angrily cursed. I don't want to be in front of the lower class. Humbled myself to bow before you. Chang Nan silently looked at Tian Vongtran without saying a word. Huang Hai was sweating profusely, thinking. Duan Kung Ban Keen calculates debts. I dare not say anything. I dare to guess. This act of the time god. Didn't you want to surrender to Chang Nan? Previously, she deceived the gods. Lost all her predestined relationship. Also unnecessarily poked at a lot of enemies. Even though she has thousands of tricks. If there is a conflict between the characters, she didn't even have time to resist. It can be completely destroyed. Besides this, there is also the Longden Ti clan. That would never be forgiven. Let her now, she has nowhere to go. In order to protect herself, she was forced to take another step forward. Rely on Chang Nan. Seeking further increase. Like these things don't seem to have anything to do with me. Tian Vongtran shouted that I want to talk to you. Do you understand? She came to be redundant. Huang Hai was embarrassed in the distance. Or should I go back first? Chang Nan said to Tian Vongtran. So you listen carefully. Now Huang Hai is my representative. Whether you cooperate or not, you have to listen to her. Tian Vongtran opened her mouth and said what? Tian Vongtran is angry. Thinking just now that woman begged me. Now on the contrary, this guy must be intentional. Tian Vongtran turned to Huang Hai and hugged her shoulder and said. Huang Hai Nhi. You understand? Huang Hai looked at her, not understanding. Tian Vongtran silently prayed. I don't want to talk to you. You know how much courage it took me to confess to him. Don't understand. Chang Nan spoke up. I'm going to risk my life with Tran Trang Nan. If you know what's good, get out of here. I understand. Is that what you mean, you want to go to war with me? Tian Vongtran panicked and translated, what the hell? Then I don't want to antagonize you. Tran Nhi looked at Tian Vongtran and asked Huang Hai. Hi Nhi. Tian Vongtran held Huang Hai's hand and smiled. Shall we cooperate? Huang Hai remembered before thinking, compared to me. At that time, it seems that he only knew how to bow his head to solve the problem. Not equal. Tian Vongtran still emotionally held Huang Hai's hand. Huang Hai awkwardly looked at Trang Nhi and asked for help. Trang Nhi signaled her agreement. Tien Vong Tran silently cursed the enemy. Do you consider me a tool to lecture this girl? You're good. I remember. The three of them turned around and gathered with the immortals again. Thuan Hai said that the teacher has not returned yet. Do you need to wait? He replied that Hung I have been here for a long time and have friends. We're so impatient. Let's say goodbye here. Trang Nhi suddenly remembered something and said one more thing I almost forgot. He waved his hand, the space-time element appeared. The immortals were dumbfounded. This is the power of space-time saw. Tien Vong Tran is angry. Trang Nhi, you are very good. The ability I cultivated all my life, you said to take it. What do you mean by calling the god of spacetime as I exist? What does it mean? Trang Nhi took off his shirt. To tell the truth, there is no guide for everyone. Let's use this vibration first. I carved the power of time and space into this. In terms of intensity, it will be more powerful than the artifact you used before. Trang Nhi gave Thuan Hai a reminder. She has removed the side effects. Of course, this side effect is only ineffective in the Great Six ancient times. Other planets will still have. Use with caution. Thuan Hai tremblingly took it in response. She said more. Trang Nhi looked at her and waited for her to finish. Thuan Hai hugged Trang Nhi and whispered. Trang Nhi, thank you. With tears welling up in her eyes, Trang Nhi said. See you in 10,005 years. Trang Nhi looked at her gently and nodded. At this point, Trang Nhi and immortal King Tien Vong had left. She said, why can't I meet my beloved? This world is so unfair. Trang Nhi ignored her. Tien Vong changed the subject. Trang Nhi just agreed. You can't go back on your word about this collaboration. Trang Nhi replied coldly. The past is the past. The me now never agreed to anything. What are you so happy about? Tien Vong said furiously. Trang Nhi, you're pulling out the rug from under me. You did something, and now you're saying you won't pay? Because of you, I can no longer stay in the god realm. You had to take responsibility. Trang Nhi replied calmly. It also put a lot of pressure on me to help you. Protecting you means making enemies of many angels. They're so strong. How can I possibly fight them? Tien Vong roared. You despicable, shameless bastard. Trang Nhi said with a wicked smile, unless he pinched Tien Vong's cheek. If you call me dad, I might be happy and agree to help you. Tien Vong cursed, seeing Trang Ni's ruthlessness. Tien Vong turned and left. If we can't agree on a collaboration, then I'm leaving. It just means I'll have to suffer a bit more. If I endure the suffering, I'll become invincible. Trang Nhi said, all right. If you give up on your pursuit, I might change my mind. Using all means to seize continents. Just to enhance your cultivation. If I do that, will you? Tien Vong turned around with a hopeful look in her eyes. But, seeing Tien Vong's hesitation, he laughed shamelessly. Just kidding. He. This made Tien Vong furious, gritting her teeth. She wished she could turn this guy into a eunuch. But the more she got angry, the more Trang Nhi teased her. Don't you want to know if I'm lying? He was playing her like a fiddle. Am I? Isn't he? He taunted her. Unable to bear it any longer, she pointed at him. Trang Nhi, you despicable wretch. I will never forget this. He looked at her with a teasing smile. That's it? You're leaving already? I was hoping to have a little more fun. The system, witnessing his shamelessness, was speechless. Host, that you've survived until now, is truly a miracle. But it was also curious, and couldn't understand Trang Ni's thoughts. Why did Host refuse to cooperate with the time god? According to my memory, she will become a very powerful god in the future. It's a good opportunity to take her as a little sister. Hearing this, Trang Nhi explained softly. Now is not the time to accept her. This woman's nature is both mischievous and cunning. Don't be fooled by her surrender. She's definitely plotting something behind the scenes. We don't know what it is. But she will definitely cause us trouble in the future. Dealing with her once is fine, but repeatedly? Wouldn't that tire me to death? This was the real reason. He didn't want to accept her. And let her leave. Tien Vong, walking through the time tunnel. Cursed Trang Nhi. You piece of trash, Trang Nhi. They say it's better to remember kindness than to hold grudges. She and I will meet again. The system looked at him with disdain. Host, honestly. With a brain like yours. Is that appropriate? You shouldn't be so immoral, using innocent girls to reach the peak of your life. Trang Nhi was struck in the heart. Sulking. You, and you're gossiping too? Why don't you quickly help me create some high-quality missions? My domain points are running low. You freeloading system. You even want me to do this for you? So he set off again. System, before we go back, I need you to do something for me on the Hanko continent. The system immediately agreed. After everything was settled, Han Hai used the remnants of the Great Formation to open a teleportation portal back to the Hanko continent. She gritted her teeth. But when she got out, she only saw Thuan Hai. Moreover, she was wearing his robe, which shocked her. She looked around for him. Thuan Hai, looking at her, understood her feelings. They both loved the same man and understood each other. They were also sisters from the same sect. Their feelings were immeasurable. Thuan Hai ran over and hugged Han Hai. Just looking into Thuan Hai's eyes, Han Hai understood everything. She glanced at them and turned to run away. In the sky, his eyes flashed with astonishment. Because, at that moment, life energy was radiating from the bodies on the continent. People opened their eyes and sat up simultaneously, looking around with confused expressions. Weren't we dead? Witnessing this miracle, Fong Tan Duan was stunned, then overwhelmed with emotion. He ran to embrace his comrades, tears welling up in his eyes, while Thuan Hai was still staring blankly at Han Hai's retreating figure and the resurrection of everyone. Suddenly, she heard the sound of high heels approaching from behind. She immediately recognized the familiar presence. Her eyes widened in astonishment as she turned around, and tears started streaming down her face. All the emotions she had been suppressing. Her master had also revived. He called her disciple. Master, she asked in her mind, are we? The scene shifted to a place where a person named Tran Trong Nin had saved everyone's lives. But Thuan Hai didn't answer, and hurriedly rushed to hug her master. Then their long story continued until sunset. And still wasn't over. Everyone finally left. Everyone knew that Tran Trong Nin was from the future. So Thuan Hai made a promise to her friends. In 10,000,005 years, they would travel together to the 9 continents to repay Trong Nin's life-saving debt. Everyone rejoiced and agreed to this. Han Hai, however, had feelings of anticipation. Time flew by like a dog running in a field. Soon, 10,000,005 years had passed. In the beautiful land of Thuan continent, in a place called Medicine Spirit Valley, a hidden paradise of immortal cultivators, were many deadly traps that needed to be solved one by one before one could reach this land. Many people were searching for spirit herbs. One person, having found a special spirit herb, laughed with delight, ha ha ha. I found the 9-leaf dragon heart. The others were envious. Damn it, that spirit herb is very effective in replenishing blood essence. That kid found it first. An elderly alchemist tried to comfort them. Don't worry, young ones. We still have a chance to save Lady 9 continents. I don't think one spirit herb is enough. Off to the side, a young woman received a jade communication message. Everyone, even if we find spirit herbs, we might not be able to deliver them in time. Everyone was puzzled. The news was only released 2 days ago. Why? The young woman continued to explain. The communication artifact sent the news to every alchemist on the continent. They're all rushing to Van Continent, where the continent lord lives. The scene shifted to Van Continent, where the streets were bustling. All the alchemists wanted to be the first to meet Continent Lord Tran. He saved us. He didn't even care about his wife being seriously injured. The peace we have today is thanks to Continent Lord Tran. He's in trouble now. We can't just stand by and do nothing. Don't push me. Hey. Hold on. I remember? Wait, I remember. You're the alchemist who treats erectile dysfunction in men. Aren't you in the wrong line? We don't even know what Lady Nine Continent's illness is. I'm just trying my luck. What if I happen to be the right person for the job? Nobody was willing to give up their spot in the long line. Inside, Lin Bao and I peeked out the door. The commoners, cultivators, and alchemists had blocked all the paths to the Continent Lord's mansion. They even called Zhang Tongso Lady Nine Continents? She couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. Which bastard spread these nonsensical rumors? Hong Wei said softly. I've investigated thoroughly these past few days. It's Tongso's former sect, Heavenly Fragrance Sect. They want to use this incident to gain fame and expand their influence, becoming a major sect. Not only did they put up huge posters, but they're also spreading the news everywhere. Not only that, they're also using items related to Master for publicity. They've gained a lot of fame in the past 2 days. Oh. This pillow. This pillow. Continent Lord Tran slept on it before. We at the Heavenly Fragrance Sect are the only ones who have it. This year, in the sect recruitment rankings, we won't be ranked below 1000 anymore. We can jump directly to second place. Bakengwin, however, was uncomfortable. But Master and Miss Tong so haven't even gotten married. How can they spread these rumors? And Lin Bao Nhi is fuming with anger. She's even angrier than that woman. What I'm worried about is, once her identity is officially confirmed, we'll have very few opportunities to, use Master. Hong Wei and Bak Wei were embarrassed. Use what? How could we dare? You too don't want to be sent to the cold palace by Master, do you? Lin Bao Nhi tried to persuade them. But it makes sense. We're using Trantrang for free now. How can we tolerate someone else taking our place? So they shook their heads vigorously, seeing their reactions. Lin Bao Nhi smirked. She had accomplices for her plan. Then we had to strike first. Let's go see Master. The two girls were easily persuaded. At this moment, Fairy Zhang Tongso was sitting in a space filled with peach blossoms. With captivating eyes, refined eyebrows, and an ethereal aura. Her eyes were closed, like a sleeping fairy. Tran Trang Nan and Zhang Hongyan were standing in Zhang Tongso's closed cultivation space. Head Zhang is performing a divine technique. On the side, he looked at the necklace and thought. She's using it to transform the objects around Tongso into divine artifacts, combined with her unique immortal technique to replenish her essence and repair her soul. I hope nothing goes wrong. Suddenly, Head Zhang called out, Senior. She bowed her head and presented the divine artifact with both hands. With the support of divine power and the soul restoration technique, the immortal technique has been successfully completed. But Tran Trang Nan looked at Zhang Tongso and asked, why hasn't she woken up yet? The purple-haired girl explained, Senior Tran, please rest assured. Once the soul transfer technique is successful, she will wake up within 2 days. Luckily, we didn't delay for too long. Tran Trang Nan retrieved Zhang Tongso's necklace. I've seen many souls, after being repaired, experience memory loss. What are your thoughts on this? But for some reason, the purple-haired girl was trembling. No, it won't happen. With the guidance of divine power and the divine artifact, Tongso's recovery is going very well. Senior, please rest assured, I won't let anything go wrong. The purple-haired girl had no other choice but to believe and wait. But, sensing something off about her, he asked, what's wrong? You keep looking away. Is something the matter? This startled her, and she bowed her head. And no. Nothing. It's just, you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago. Hearing this, Tran Trang Nan understood. He thought, initially, I didn't exist in their memories. It's only after I time traveled to the future that they developed memories of me. My existence has become deeply ingrained in their obsession. Many things have indeed changed. Without explaining anything, he left. causing the purple-haired girl's dress to flutter in the wind. His voice lingered in her ears. "Take good care of Tongso." After he left, Jade Tian approached and asked the head. "Did you recognize the wrong person? He's from the 9 continents. Not from your time." But the purple-haired girl insisted, "I wouldn't be mistaken. It's him." She was reminiscing, remembering the terrifying scene that year. He single-handedly fought against gods from all directions, slaughtering them. The angels, just hearing his name, were so terrified that they didn't dare to fight. For millions of years, I've been blinded by profit, and forgotten that on the 9 continents, there's this great being. She looked up at the sky and calculated the date. That day seems to be approaching. The 10 million 5-year promise is tomorrow. She was filled with anticipation. I wonder how they've been all these years. Meanwhile, on the barbarian continent, a neighboring starfield of the 9 continents, a group of people in black were approaching. They met the barbarian continent's chieftain. Behind the chieftain was a group of warriors with primitive weapons, blue skin, and 6 long ears. The chieftain greeted them with a smile. The first inter-starfield tournament is about to begin. Many starfields are fiercely competing with each other. We are fortunate that our alliance with the prosperous Hangdu continent allows us to face our enemy together. He is a descendant of the wild star-devouring beast. Our clan is truly fortunate. Across from them, their guest removed their hood and said softly, "We are too." This person was a fairy from the Hangkou continent. It was Tranduk, Fuang Hai's master. After 10 million 5 years, her appearance hadn't changed at all. She said softly, "I have one condition for our cooperation." The blue-skinned chieftain agreed and invited Tranduk to speak. "Please, Divine Envoy Tran, tell us about the alliance. It concerns the allocation of resources on the continent. As long as we can help, we won't refuse. I hear that you've been plundering barbarian lands throughout the cosmos lately, collecting and expanding your cultivation resources. And on your recent list is the 9 continents? Is that true?" Tranduk looked intently at the blue-skinned beings. But hearing that name, the blue-skinned beings felt as if they had been struck by lightning. They were startled. He said coldly, "I've always wondered, why would a powerful and wealthy land like the Hangkou continent want to ally with us? So this was your purpose. You want to take the 9 continents from us?" The warriors behind the chieftain stepped forward menacingly. But Tranduk didn't care. She just wanted to hear their answer. She looked at them. "So, what's your answer?" The blue-skinned chieftain was enraged, causing the flames around him to transform into eerie soul flames. "We've had our eyes on this place for a long time. If we can annex this continent, we can advance and become a powerful continent. You're dreaming if you think you can have it." Hearing their refusal, the envoys from the Hangkou continent darkened their expressions with murderous intent. "Then there's no need to discuss an alliance any further." Without giving the blue-skinned beings a chance to react, the envoys attacked, sending those warriors to meet their ancestors. Like fierce dragons and tigers, they attacked, leaving the blue-skinned warriors no chance to fight back. Witnessing this massacre, the chieftain trembled in fear and couldn't speak. Only the leader of the warriors, along with 2 others, charged at the attackers. He roared, "How dare you attack us? My father will devour you." But in response, Tranduk, with a single palm strike, sent those brats to meet their maker. In an instant, the blue-skinned chieftain was terrified. He thought to himself, "My clan is descended from a divine beast. We are born to be mighty warriors. We should be dominant. I can't believe we lost so easily to these kids." He realized the identities of these envoys. They are the 9-star guardians cultivated by the Hangkou continent. Each of them has reached the immortal venerable realm. He said slowly to Tranduk, "So the rumors are true. Hangkou continent, you haven't done anything major for years. You only care about this 9 continents like it's some treasure." Tranduk's eyes turned icy. "We warned you. Never covet the 9 continents. We won't do it again." The chieftain promised. But he was plotting in his mind. I'll surrender for now. Then find a way to steal it later. Once we become a powerful continent, we'll repay them 100-fold. For today's humiliation. However, Tran Duk, who had experienced countless trials, descended to the underworld, met the king of hell, and was brought back to life. Was familiar with these tricks. What are you trying to pull? You think you still have a chance? She used her immortal technique to severely injure the chieftain, causing him to scream like a pig being slaughtered. Why? He collapsed to the ground, confused. I already surrendered. Why are they still so relentless? The people of the 9 continents are weak. All the surrounding starfields can bully them. They're not worthy of being allies, let alone slave planets. You've been protecting them for so many years, and even turned against many races. Why? He desperately wanted to know the reason. Tran Duk's eyes lit up with happiness. Because there's someone who is very important to the Hanko continent. For him, we'd turn against even the descendants of divine beasts. Even if we had to face those angels, we will never back down. Not just us, but also my disciples, grand disciples, and everyone on the Hanko continent are willing to fight for him until their last breath. As Tran Duk spoke, she activated the ancestral teleportation formation. They had settled things here. Now they had to go back and prepare for tomorrow. Oh, one more thing. Before leaving, she continued in a cold voice, glaring at the trembling blue-skinned chieftain. Tomorrow, my disciple will come to the Hanko continent to meet that special person. Your faction? Better keep your thoughts, whether good or bad, to yourselves. If you still harbor any wrong ideas, think carefully about the consequences. With that, the envoy stepped into the teleportation formation and left, leaving the blue-skinned chieftain kneeling there alone. He thought in fear, that was Fairy Thuong Hai? That woman, she's a demon. For millions of years, she's conquered almost all the surrounding starfields. So, how terrifying must the person she respects be? Meanwhile, on the Van continent, a lantern festival was taking place. Tran Trong Nin asked in surprise. Lantern festival? Lin Bao Nhi was acting cute. Master, please go. The lantern festival only happens once a year. You haven't been with us for so long. This time, go out and have some fun with us. Hong Noi and Bok Wai cheered him on. Trong Nin was giving a shoulder massage to his master, Fong Koi Van. The old man felt so good, he was numb. After coming to the 9 continents, he changed his name from Fong Tan Duong to Fong Koi Van. Looking at his precious disciple, he couldn't help but chuckle. He thought to himself, this is so good. It was worth waiting for you all these years. Trong Nin heard his disciple's suggestion and said, I've actually never participated in a lantern festival before. Currently, the system was still calculating bonus rewards. Tone So was now stable and would wake up in 2 days. So I guess I have some free time. Bao Nhi was delighted. She ran to hug him excitedly. So you're agreeing? Master, you're the best. So tomorrow, you'll spend the whole day with us. No going back on your word. And no running off to do other things. Tran Trong Nin was speechless. Alright. She pulled him along. Master, it's not easy to go out for once. Let's take you to change your clothes. Grand Master, we'll go ahead. Fong Koi Van was left speechless and helpless. He said to himself, why is everything happening tomorrow? Chang'an, you have created a grave sin. Tomorrow is the 10,000,005th anniversary of the Great Six Antiquities. The beauties of the antiquities will have a grand battle of 300 matches, with beauties from the 9 provinces. Victory will belong to I. Chang'an returns to find a way to heal Zhang Tuanzio's soul. As for the people of Chang'an with the promise of 10,000,005, tomorrow will come. At this moment, Ling Bao Nhi takes Chang'an to the Lantern Festival. He is sitting alone, enjoying tea and watching the streets. It's been a long time since he's been out. On the street, there are all sorts of sounds of life from the old madam, who is inviting the young master to come and play. Tu Sun Lao has a lot of new beauties, come on. The boy selling newspapers. Everyone, come and see the new famous novel. Love contract number 5 inches. This made Tran Trang unhappy. This feeling of peace is wonderful. But time is short. He not only had to destroy the borders of the 9 provinces, but also prevent the invasion of the demons. Peaceful days like these were truly rare. He thought to himself. Tomorrow is the Lantern Festival of the 9 provinces. People usually celebrate together. There will also be lantern decorations and colorful objects. But Bak Wei and Bao Nhi were only starting to prepare now. Wasn't it too late? He remembered an hour ago Bao Nhi told him. Master, wait here a moment. We'll be right back. It will be quick for someone who lives in 2 worlds like you. He understood completely that these young ladies only went out to buy clothes. But waiting for women to shop is like ancient people trying to find fire in the wilderness. It's truly unbearable. But he didn't know what they were doing either. While he was lost in thought, people recognized him. Master Tran, it's really you. Everyone, come quickly. I can't believe I get to meet my idol at such close range. This made the young man jump. Then everyone rushed towards him. I heard that Master Tran's wife is seriously ill. I brought traditional elixir. Please take it, while these girls want to. The rest of the sentence is inappropriate for translation. Please sign this for me. I admire you so much. Hearing this, Tran and immediately waved his hand. My wife is fine. Thank you for your kindness. While he was struggling with this crowd, suddenly, a woman's hand grabbed his arm and pulled him away. It turned out to be Bak Hu returning from shopping. She led him to fly up. I'm sorry, Senior, I'm late. Senior, please punish me. This made the crowd gasp in surprise. But he noticed the item she was holding. What are you holding in your hand? The girl stammered, no, it's nothing special. Just some tools to aid in cultivation. Bak Hu still practices diligently every day? Really? He should have praised her while she was blushing in embarrassment. But seeing her strange expression, he was quite surprised. So he used the function of his invincible domain and activated the see through all things mode and saw inside her bag. All of her belongings were tools for partying. He didn't know if this see through mode of his could see through clothes or not. He didn't know. Being someone from Earth like Tran in, how could he not understand what these tools meant? Doesn't this mean she only went out to buy clothes? What in the world was she planning to do with these things? My God. At this moment, Bak Hu's eyes were flushed, and her whole body emitted a flow of energy. She thought to herself shyly, Senior. And this glittering golden tower is Han Land Palace. It was built on the border between the 2 worlds. People were bustling in and out. Bak Hu and Lin Bao Nhi also led Tran in to the front of this tower. He looked at the surroundings and was quite surprised. This trading city has quite a few auras of people from the outside world. Moreover, their backgrounds are not insignificant. At this moment, Lin Bao Nhi spoke up. Master, I have already made a reservation and booked the entire Han Land Palace. Today, you can leave everything to Bao Nhi. Then the group went inside the tower. Passing by the guards at the door, he was secretly astonished. Even the guards at the gate are immortals. The scene of this tall tower did not exist in the past timeline. He speculated that this might have arisen after the major event. In the past, who knows who the owner of this place is? Little Bao Nhi was very happy. She skipped along. Master, this is the first time that we've gone out like this. I'm so happy. You don't even know how wonderful this place is. How wonderful is it? She began to act as a guide for Tran in. It is said that this tall tower was built in the 9 provinces more than 1,000,000 years ago. Within it, it contains everything that attracts other realms. With just this tall tower, the 9 provinces have become famous throughout the universe. Many people seek out this place. In addition to the areas designated for trading, this tower also houses cultivation areas, divided from the 1st to the 5th floor. The 1st floor is provided with immortal energy for Earth realm cultivators. The second floor is reserved for human realm cultivators. The third floor is for Earth Immortal Realm cultivators. The fourth floor belongs to Heaven Immortal Realm cultivators. The fifth floor is reserved for Emperor Realm cultivators. Not to mention that the fee for each floor is exorbitant. Despite this, countless people have cultivated here, ascending to become powerful cultivators. What makes everyone most curious is the identity of the mistress of the hall and tower. Who is she? Some say she's a powerful cultivator from the ancient era, while others believe she's someone from the darkness beyond the realms. All sorts of rumors have been circulating for millions of years in the 9 provinces. MANHUA believes that she's simply a powerful cultivator with her own story, which led her to this place, silently opening up another path. Cultivators from other planets. Everyone dreams of meeting her once. Unfortunately, no one has ever had that opportunity. This surprised Tran Trong in a bit. From the way you describe her, she must be incredibly powerful. He then proceeded to check the prices in the trading area. He was stunned to see a set of clothes priced at 9,000 gold coins. This left him speechless. This trash. How can it be so expensive? The owner is blatantly ripping people off. Hearing his muttering, nearby customers sneered. Look at him, pathetically poor. The type who can't afford to buy anything, yet claims the goods are bad to save face. The people of the 9 provinces are truly shameless. Another chimed in. Nowadays, anyone can set foot in the Halan Tower. Just look at him. MANHUA and Bukwei were fuming, their eyes blazing with fury as they glared at the 2 men. Manager, excuse me, MANHUA called out to a female attendant. The attendant immediately recognized the familiar customer and greeted her, Miss MANHUA. At that moment, MANHUA pointed towards the group of foreigners. These bastards dared to insult my master. Their tone, I can't just swallow this. She pulled out her black card, symbolizing her power, and handed it to the attendant. She then declared, I'll buy all the clothes and cultivation resources. In this trading area, I refuse to see these fine items tainted by these pieces of trash. Hearing her insults, the 2 men were enraged. Their teeth gritted in fury. Following Bao'Ni's declaration, the items other customers were inspecting vanished from their hands. It was the work of the Halan Tower staff. Seeing their anger, MANHUA stuck her tongue out playfully. I've already bought everything, including the treasures our master wanted. The other customers were so angry they cursed. Damn it, the people of the 9 provinces are so despicable. You've ruined our chance to make a fortune. Enraged, the 2 young men charged towards MANHUA. Seeing this, MANHUA and Bukwei remained unfazed. They released their powerful auras. They are Heaven Realm cultivators. Witnessing their strength, the 2 men froze in their tracks. Trembling like leaves, they turned tail and fled. Cowards. Can't even put up a fight. MANHUA scoffed, frustrated. The attendant, meanwhile, was bringing the purchased items to MANHUA. Miss, everything has been paid for. You bought everything, she said, carrying a mountain of goods. It must be an astronomical sum. Let's go try on some clothes. MANHUA exclaimed excitedly. The attendant was taken aback. How absurd. These young ladies were willing to spend a fortune on clothes for a man with no cultivation whatsoever. Despite Tran Trongyan's reluctance, MANHUA didn't care and dragged him into a fitting room. But then, the attendant suddenly noticed something that shocked her. Her eyes widened. Isn't that the man from the master's portrait? The man with 2 horns on his head. Her jaw dropped. We've been searching for him for millions of years, and we found him in such a miraculous way. However, his appearance was slightly different. There were no horns. For now, she'll report this to her superiors first. Therefore, she quickly took out a communication talisman. Esteemed managers. At the first floor trading hall, there's been a significant discovery. While she was relaying everything related to the man, a group of people entered the tower. It was the 2 young men, accompanied by their master. They angrily reported. Master, they're on the first floor. However, their master didn't dare to cause a scene within the Halan Tower. He coldly sneered. Just a bunch of insignificant half-heaven realm cultivators. Once they leave this Halan Tower, I'll teach them a lesson they won't forget. We'll take back our treasures. After the attendant finished her report, the managers rushed to report to their master. Master, they've appeared. The man from the portrait. Hearing this, the woman in the mirror softly spoke. Based on my calculations, the time has come. The managers immediately bowed their heads. Please, master, give us your orders. Listen carefully. From this moment forward, we will no longer accept any guests. Activate all the formations within the tower. I want to see everything happening inside. The subordinates immediately obeyed and carried out her orders. Simultaneously, the observation formations in the tower were infused with immortal energy, emitting a bright light. The woman, the master, gazed upon the images of Tran Trong Nan and Thuan Hai. She murmured softly. I've been searching for you for countless years. And just as that woman sets out to find you, you appear, the woman, with her ample bosom. Thought to herself, it's time for me to return. She resided within an eerie black bone structure. Beams of light, cold as moonlight, penetrated through it. So the master. Behind the scenes. It was Thuan Hai, of the Heavenly Demon Clan. She had established the Ha Lan Tower in the 9 provinces to find Tran Trong Nan. For over 1,000,000 years. She wondered. When we meet again, what will our relationship be? The scene shifted, revealing the inside of the fitting room. Perhaps this is the sinister tactic employed by clothing stores. So, folks, when you're trying on clothes, remember to check for hidden cameras. Tran Trong Nan, dumbfounded, said, I can undress myself. Ignoring his protest, Bao Nhi rushed forward and pulled down his pants. Master, stay still. Bao Nhi is adjusting your size. She then pressed him against the wall and quickly stripped him. Helpless. He thought, Bao Nhi is quite skilled at undressing people. But then, he suddenly realized something. Recalling previous instances of reverting to his true form. He felt drained of his life force. He had always suspected that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Moreover, whenever they gathered to engage in their mischief, there was always someone standing guard outside. Every noise, every single movement was monitored. Any suspicious activity would be met with immediate consequences. Terrified of being caught red-handed, they went to great lengths to avoid any possibility of being discovered, ensuring that their transgression was carried out flawlessly. Such a seamless and efficient operation required countless days and nights of relentless practice. Day and night, they honed their skills, perfecting their craft. Furious, he pointed at the 2 women. You two have some nerve. Your audacity is unbelievable. I haven't even settled the score for you taking advantage of my body. And now you. He was implying they wanted to assault him. Bak Wei quickly pulled Bao Nhi aside. Quickly, go appease Zenier, she whispered. Tell him to calm down. It's all my fault. My heart is not pure. So if he wants to punish us, let him punish me. It has nothing to do with Miss Bao Nhi. She then presented a treasure box she had been secretly holding to Tran Trong Nan. Turning around, she presented her rear end to him. Bak Wei is willing to accept any punishment. Please, Zenier, don't hold back. Ever since that spanking with the rattan cane, the memory had never left her mind. That feeling, both painful and pleasurable, had become an obsession. This time, she wanted to experience it to the fullest. She had been craving for that unforgettable feeling. She had a whole box of toys, but could only use them alone. She never truly got to experience the pleasure. Now, she finally had her chance. She presented her rear end to Tran Trong Nan. Bak Wei is willing to accept any punishment. Please, Zenier, don't show mercy. Tran Trong Nan was speechless. These women were insane. Their audacity was unbelievable. But despite himself, his lust was sparked. He put on a righteous tone. I didn't want to do this. But you've shown me great disrespect. And you've taken advantage of my body. His tone was as if he was the one being punished. Raising his voice, he continued. Bak Wei gazed at him eagerly. The memory of that spanking on Mount Faition was still fresh in her mind. Ever since that day, she had been yearning for it, almost at her breaking point. Tran Trong Nan started whipping her again. She moaned seductively. Do you understand where you went wrong? Bok Wei stammered, I know. I know my mistake. Witnessing the scene, Lin Nhi and Han Yi were terrified and filled with pity for Bok Wei. Bok Wei, we're sorry. They cried out. It's all our fault. You're suffering because of us. Master, please let us take her place. Tran Truong'en showed no sign of stopping. No, there's no need. Bok Wei insisted. They thought she was only saying that to protect them. Touched by her supposed sacrifice, they burst into tears, vowing to be the best of sisters for life. Appearances can be deceiving. It's important to carefully consider the situation before jumping to conclusions. Tran Truong'en put the rattan cane down. He rummaged through the toolbox, looking for something else. Bok Wei, you're moaning so seductively. But you don't even seem to understand what you did wrong. Do you? Showing no sign of stopping, he continued. No, there's no need. Bok Wei said, cutting him off. Lin Nhi and Han Yi assumed she was only saying that to protect them. And they cried even harder, moved by her apparent sacrifice. They vowed to be best friends for life. Sometimes, what we see doesn't align with reality. It's important to be cautious and carefully assess the situation. Tran Truong'en put down the rattan cane. He rummaged through his toolbox, looking for something else. Bok Wei, you're moaning so seductively. But you don't even seem to understand what you did wrong. Do you? He retrieved another item from the box. Bok Wei, you moan so seductively. But you don't even know what you did wrong. Do you? He asked, his voice menacing. After rummaging for a bit, he pulled out a rope. His expression was menacing. If you don't tell me the truth, I'll have to resort to more forceful methods. Sensing trouble, Lin Nhi screamed, pleading with their master. Master, please. Bok Wei is already in so much pain. Spare her. Meanwhile, in the Halan Tower, Huan Hai was watching through the observation formation and saw Tran Truong'en tying up Bok Wei with a lustful expression on his face. Huan Hai was furious. You seem to be having a good time. Tran Truong'en, she seethed. Back in the fitting room. Bok Wei whimpered, Senior, please. That hurts. This time, there was pain mixed with the pleasure. Tran Truong'en chuckled. That's right. Today, I will leave a mark on that person's body. Outside. The image of the immortal sword can transmit even sound, making Han Yi fume with rage. That wretched man from before. I will also leave a mark that cannot be erased from his body. Whatever. The images in her mirror continued to transmit. Tong Zan left. Only the sound of Tran Truong'en's laughter remained, ha ha ha. This is the punishment. Inside Halan Kok, Lady Nanyu, the manager of the 5th floor, was gathering everyone. The masters have longed to see that person again for so long. We cannot let things get ruined at a time like this. She then ordered the 4 floor managers. Everyone, return to your respective floors. Clean up thoroughly. Those who can persuade others to leave, do so. Try not to use force. Hearing that, everyone understood and left immediately. At this time, Lady Tu Gao, the manager of the 2nd floor, spoke. The masters have been searching for the man in this painting for so many years. What is this person's relationship with the masters? Hearing her question, Lady Tu Tan, the manager of the 1st floor, speculated. Someone the masters care about. This much. They're definitely not ordinary. Could it be the master's ex-boyfriend? Seeing this group bad-mouthing Han Hai, Nanyu was furious. The master's private matters. And you dare to gossip about them? Are you tired of living? The guests within these, none of them are good people. If you don't handle this well, and it affects Halan Kak's reputation, do you have enough lives to compensate? Seeing that, the group was scared and promised. We won't dare to do it again. Hurry up, and get to work. Looking at the 2 from the 1st and 2nd floors, the rest felt a bit weary and hurriedly. Why do I feel like something's about to happen? These 2 were Fan Kai, the manager of the 3rd floor, and Tu Fong, the manager of the 4th floor. As the 2 were about to leave, Nanyu called out to them. Wait a moment, although those two weren't exactly respectful. There's something I'm still worried about.
Halon Kak, our organization tonight, has always held a special position. And has always remained neutral. Halon Kak has existed in the 9 continents for millions of years. And has never participated in any conflicts.
Even if the 9 continents were destroyed, our corridors could still exist within the void.
Even the Great Immortal War and the 9 continents' fierce conflicts before Halon Kak.
We never interfered and have always maintained neutrality.
It is precisely because of this consistent approach that Halon Kak has stood tall for millions of years. Within the Star Realm, this is the first time
since Halon Kak's establishment that we've closed our doors to guests. Moreover,
the reason is a mysterious man. Hearing this, the other two agreed.
This was exactly what they were worried about. The first and second floors are manageable. But the guests on the third and fourth floors are all at the Earth Immortal Realm or above. If we don't handle this properly,
they'll tear down our sign.
Nanyu then requested.
So after you two finish with your floors, then come find me to avoid trouble.
Trouble. I will double-check his identity
before Han Hai arrives.
As for Nanyu,
she wanted to test him first.
So she returned to where Tran Trangan was. He had locked the girl in a room with Lin Nhi.
And Hong Wai was outside. Only Bok Wei's voice could be heard from inside. Ah. Senior Bokengwin can't hold on much longer.
Hearing this, Hong Wai felt that with this noise, there must be a fierce battle going on inside. Only Bo Nhi kept begging her master to spare Sister Bok Wei. Please.
Suddenly, from the stairs nearby,
a group of people walked by, grumbling, "What the hell? Why is it suddenly closed?" I was at a crucial moment in my cultivation. Hearing this, Hong Wai looked over curiously.
At this moment, in the first floor hall, a large crowd was gathered. And none of them looked happy.
I was just a little bit away from comprehending the new technique. And they interrupted me. This is the first time in history that we've been kicked out. This is so unlucky. This made Hong Wai surprised too. Why is it suddenly closed? Do we have to leave too? But Master's business here isn't finished yet.
Suddenly, a voice rang out. Miss Hong Wai, you seem deep in thought. She was startled and turned around. You.
We've heard of Tran Trangan's great name.
And have long wanted to meet him. It turned out to be Nanyu, leading the two.
Looking at this group, they radiated immense aura.
They were all immortal emperors.
Their pressure was terrifying. I can barely breathe. This is so uncomfortable.
Hong Wai, step aside. Suddenly, from inside, a voice boomed, the three of you. Nanyu, who was approaching, was shocked to hear this. At this time, Hong Wai also felt the suffocating pressure caused by the three disappear.
It was like a warm current soothing her body, dispelling all her fatigue. This feeling, it's like Master's doing.
So she immediately stepped aside. Nanyu and the others were suspicious. It's not that they didn't trust their masters, but there were things they had to see with their own eyes
to know if it was true or not. Was this man worthy of their masters? After millions of years of following them. They were absolutely loyal to them. After entering, Nanyu said softly, "We apologize for the intrusion. We are very
sorry, but Halon Kak is currently closed.
The great immortal emperors on the other floors are also leaving."
Nanyu reported the situation
to test Tran Trangan's attitude.
But when she tried to sense his cultivation,
she couldn't understand. He didn't have any cultivation. He was no different from an ordinary person. Someone like this. No matter how you look at it. He didn't seem like the god
who had fought so magnificently in the ancient continent
10,000,005 years ago. Suddenly, from where Tran Trangan was, an oppressive aura like a demon god erupted, accompanied by a cold voice. "Are you the only ones who haven't left yet? Why are you still here? I'm currently busy and can't leave yet. But I can offer you something that you can't refuse."
Nanyu and the others were crushed to the ground by the pressure, terrified.
This oppressive feeling. It made even immortal emperors like them feel suffocated. They trembled and replied, "How dare we chase you away?
We would never. Our masters have been waiting for you for many years. I'll wait for her here.
He then waved them away.
It was like they had been granted amnesty. They clutched their chests and stumbled away,
saying as they went, "We won't disturb you any further, senior. Please, continue as you were."
Manhwa, watching from outside, was astonished.
Even immortal emperors feared master's power. As for Tran Trangan, he was a little apprehensive. Wait for her? I hope it's not Han Hai. I have no way of dealing with her. He was still a little embarrassed
about throwing her to the 9 continents back then. Meanwhile, outside Halan Kag, it was a scene of chaos.
Outside, the managers of the first and second floors
were bowing their heads and apologizing to the guests,
asking them to leave. This made the guests very unhappy. You're closing just like that? What about our cultivation being interrupted? That's right, we came from other star rounds. The travel expenses alone were considerable. How do you intend to compensate us?
Hearing this, the manager replied,
"Please tell us. Your round-trip travel expenses. Halan Kag will compensate you accordingly?" Among the crowd,
the man who had a grudge with Tran Trangan
was also surprised. What's going on? Is Halan Kag closing?
The young man beside him turned, his voice full of resentment.
"Martial uncle, what do we do? Everyone's been kicked out. Where do we go to find them now?"
This made the 3 of them furious.
Everyone has been kicked out. Literally everyone. Except us.
Manhwa, peering outside, was shocked and confused.
Suddenly, a man outside looked inside and exclaimed, "Halan Kag." He had noticed Manhwa peeking from inside.
He pointed at her angrily.
"Someone's still inside. Why is she allowed to stay? While we're being kicked out?" Hearing this,
the first floor manager smiled and waved his hand.
"Please, don't make things difficult for us." But the man wouldn't let it go. He shouted, "Make things difficult? Am I wrong? Martial uncle, I recognize her. She's with those people. They must still be inside."
Hearing this, the silver-haired man's eyes lit up.
He then shouted, "You want us to leave? Fine. Then treat everyone fairly. Treat everyone equally."
The young man chimed in, riling up the crowd.
"Yes, treat everyone equally. Great Dunyat continent. We and our esteemed guests have been partners for hundreds of years. Surely, you don't want our relationship to reach a deadlock just because of a few people of unknown origin, do you?"
The silver-haired man continued to threaten, pushing the 2 managers' patience to the limit. The first floor manager's face darkened.
"Esteemed guest, I advise you to leave peacefully. I will only say this once."
But the silver-haired man was oblivious. He continued to provoke them.
"Those brats stole my treasure. I want to take them back to the great Dunyat continent for punishment. Just kick them out for me, and you won't have to worry about the rest. We can still be good partners." This was the last straw. The manager sent him flying with a slap. "You want to die?" She looked at him with disdain. "Just an immortal king? And you dare to have such arrogant thoughts?" The other guests were shocked. "You dare to even think that?"
At this moment, a young man stepped forward and argued.
"You're quite impressive. You want to kick us out today? Without any explanation? But you close your doors to give special treatment to some? What's the meaning of this? We are all immortal venerables and above.
Furthermore, we are all longtime customers of Halan Kag.
If we really make a fuss, I'm afraid you won't have the upper hand," he said threateningly. "Those people are from the 9 continents. Maybe the locals have some backing." But another man laughed mockingly, "Ha ha ha. Is there anyone here without a powerful backer? Our continents are no weaker than the 9 continents. If Halan Kag wasn't built in this godforsaken place, we wouldn't even bother coming here." Seeing the commotion, the first floor manager transmitted to the second. "Sister, you were too impulsive earlier. This only made things more complicated. Now, we need to know who those people really are." With that,
The crowd tried to force their way into Holland Kak. But as they got close, a single palm strike
sent them flying. An angry voice boomed.
Who dares cause trouble at the gates of Holland Kak?
Face the consequences.
It was Nan Yu, along with the two from the third
and fourth floors. Everyone inside the cultivation chambers had come out.
Nan Yu stood tall, blocking the crowd.
Listen carefully. The man inside
is someone our masters have been searching for millions of years.
Don't even mention a single continent like Dunyet. Even all your planets combined
are nothing compared to that young master. This shocked the silver-haired man and his companions.
What? That poor brat? No. That young master is someone the masters care about?
Offending the 5 managers was one thing.
But offending the masters themselves? We're doomed. We'll be selling salt on the streets. The second floor manager took out a scroll and burned it. Her voice firm. From now on, the cooperation agreement between Holland Kak and the Dunyet continent is void. Holland Kak will also ban everyone from the Dunyet continent, no matter if it's for trade or cultivation. Return to your Dunyet continent if you still harbor any ill intentions toward that young master. The 5 managers of Holland Kak will personally crush you.
The other guests were filled with regret
and blamed the Dunyet continent group. Yes, treat everyone equally. We didn't know
the young master's special status.
It's all their fault.
They were the ones who provoked him. The silver-haired man roared.
Nonsense. Just now, you wanted to kick them out too.
And you attacked Holland Kak.
Don't try to shift the blame. Don't blame us. And so,
the other guests turned on the Dunyet group,
scolding them. Shut up. You're the ones who caused all this. And now you're trying to slander us? Saying we'll be selling salt? Offending the masters? We'll see about that. Outnumbered, the silver-haired group could only take the beating. After a while, the other guests bowed. We've taught these troublemakers a lesson. We've beaten them senseless. The rest is up to you 5 managers. They kowtowed. Please forgive us. The Dunyet group were no longer arrogant. They pleaded. We were wrong. We won't dare do it again. Inside, Hongwei witnessed it all. This whole thing was quite entertaining. She wanted to tell Tran Trong and all about it. But suddenly,
above the 9 continents,
the sky was torn open. But something is about to appear. Is it possible that someone from the ancient continent is coming to find Tran Trongen? We'll find out later.
At the same time, at Zhang Ru's place,
Zhang Tongso's secret healing place.
At this time, the sky of the secret realm was suddenly torn apart,
surprising the Zhang family head. She could feel the aura of a supermaster from outside the realm descending. Ninchao continent goes to Zhang family's secret realm,
as if sensing the divine power inside Zhang Tongso's body.
So this person rushed over.
Zhang Hongyan, with surprised eyes,
stared at the teleportation array in the sky. Who will come? Suddenly, at this time,
the Zhang RA people called out to their patriarch.
Patriarch, she's moving. Hearing that, she turned around in surprise.
She looked towards Zhang Tongso, who was sitting, only to see that Zhang Tongso's arm at this time was making slight movements.
This made everyone happy. Because after a while of treatment, Gao Tongso's soul was probably about to wake up.
Her eyes were still closed,
but her skin seemed to be much rosier than before. At the same time, there was a teleportation array that instantly appeared in another location, in Ninchao.
At this time, inside the Hamdan armor,
Tran Trongen had finished punishing Bak Wei.
She was still lying sprawled out, while wearing a new outfit that the girls had bought for her.
He spoke softly, Bak Wei. Today is just a small punishment. But at the same time, it's also a strong warning to you. If you repeat this in the future, I will apply a punishment that is even more severe on you. Hearing that, Bak Wei whimpered slightly. Bak Wei understands. She thought to herself. This time, Master's punishment made the wall of cultivation show signs of loosening. It seems like it's about to break through. Therefore, she decided that next time she would definitely look for an opportunity to get Master to continue punishing her in order to level up. With her love of violence, the heavier the punishment, the sooner she would be satisfied. At this moment, seeing him open the door and walk out, the fifth-floor managers of Halan Cak were surprised. But to a transmigrator like Tran Trong Nyen, Bakwei's strange hobby was nothing new. He wondered if Tu Yen so had this hobby too. But there was no rush for the time being. He turned to Nanyu and said, "Your outfit is beautiful. I will wear it more often." Witnessing his change, the female customers felt their ovaries explode. Linbo Nhi exclaimed, "Master seems to have become a different person after putting on this new outfit." Hong Wai blushed. "Master is so handsome." Bakwei, who had just been beaten to a pulp, fanned the flames. "Bakengwin is so jealous. She wants to continue being taken care of by Master." Even the Halan Cak people were no exception. Their eyes burned with infatuation as they stared at Tran Trong Nyen. No wonder our masters miss him so much. A super strong master, who's also so handsome. Which girl wouldn't fall for him? Seeing their infatuated expressions, Hong Wai and Lin Bo Nhi were jealous. They looked like they wanted to smash their heads. How dare they compete with them? So, they ran over and hugged Tran Trong in to mark their territory. They thought to themselves, "Don't even dream about it, Master. Senior Master is ours." But this made Tran Trong a little scared. He didn't understand why these women now all looked like silly girls. Suddenly, at this time, Tran Trong Nyen felt something approaching. He could feel the spatial divine power fluctuating violently. This proved that he wasn't the only one opening a teleportation array to Zhang Tongso's place. But he didn't know what this person's purpose was in coming to Nin Chao. What was their purpose? Were they a friend or an enemy? On the other side, Nano didn't know his thoughts. She smiled happily and said, "It's thanks to Senior Tran that we can feel the atmosphere of the outside world. Inside this closed-off Hanlan Cak, we can clearly sense the aura outside." Calculating the time, our masters should be back soon. But Tran Trong Nyen didn't care. He immediately teleported away. "I'll be back later." This left everyone speechless. Everyone, especially Nano, felt choked up. They didn't know what to say or how to explain to their masters. Because they had reported that Tran Trong Nyen was in Hanlan Cak. Now, he had left, giving them a headache. At this moment, a teleportation array opened inside the Cak. A foot wearing a black high heel appeared. Nano immediately recognized this person and greeted her, "Master." Looking at the newcomer, Lin Bao Nhi and the others felt she was very beautiful, but also very confused. What was the relationship between this girl and their master? They were probably all jealous. The newcomer was Han Hai. She looked around for a while and asked, "Where is he?" She must not have seen Tran Trong Nyen. She was truly obsessed with him. "Didn't you say he was waiting for me here?" Her voice was full of displeasure. Hearing this, Nano and the others were helpless. They didn't know how to explain. At this time, Lin Bao Nhi ran over to the master and asked, "May I ask who you are looking for, my master?" Hearing the word, master, Han Hai was quite surprised. She suddenly understood. So it's his disciple, she thought. I thought she was his lover. She smiled slightly. "You can call me Shermu," she said softly. "I'm your master's fiancé." This caused the little girl to freeze in shock. Everyone present, Hong Wai, Bakwei, Nanyu, the managers, everyone in Hanlan Cak was shocked. It was as if they had been struck by lightning. At this time, Han Hai also realized that she wasn't the only one who had come to Nin Chao continent to find Tran Trong Nyen. Her senior sister had also come here. Both of them were looking for him. They were both obsessed with him. So she opened a teleportation array. "This time, you won't escape from me. If you don't believe me, try running away. I'll make you regret it."
Inside Zhang family's secret realm, Zhang Nannian stared at the newcomer with wide eyes.
Why are you here?
Hearing this, the person who stepped out of the secret realm replied softly.
Jiang Nannian, little sister. Still the same as before. Nothing has changed. Do you miss us?
Of course, she said. I have postponed the invitation to the interstellar competition, organized by the gods, and rushed here.
I have only one wish. And that is to not let my junior sister gain the upper hand.
The reason why she hasn't dared to see him for so many years
is because she thinks what she's doing is still not good enough.
She still can't stand on her own 2 feet.
She should be worried.
She can't make an impression in front of him. At this time, Tran Trongan also found his way here.
He didn't dare to show himself yet.
He stood on a rock and looked down, his mouth agape in shock. Why is it her? She came here at this critical time.
I hope nothing happens.
Below, the girl who had just arrived continued to pour out her heart.
But now it was a little different. She smiled slightly.
It turns out she's the god. Female Thuan Hai of the ancient continent. She's still wearing the cloak given by Manhwa, only the protective seal is different. Now her temperament is noble. And much more mature. She said softly, now. I might take the initiative to pursue him.
Ah, Nungnian.
She said, looking at Zhang Tun so nervously. Actually, for 10,000,005 years.
I've always had feelings for Tran Trongan.
If she knew about Tunso,
I don't know what she would do.
She was very worried. After all, one was the master of the ancient continent. And the other was just a small character. A mere immortal from Nin Chao continent. Seeing the Zhang family head glancing at Tunso,
Thuan Hai asked, what is she doing? Why do you keep looking at her? Who is she?
Hearing this, the Zhang family head's voice trembled slightly.
She's a genius in our family. Zhang Tunso.
She suffered a soul injury a long time ago.
And still hasn't woken up.
At this time, Thuan Hai also looked at Tunso more carefully. She's very beautiful, she sighed.
The Zhang family head said proudly, yes.
She's the most beautiful girl in the Zhang family. She has countless suitors. At the same time, Thuan Hai also saw Tunso's injuries.
There's a problem, Nungnian. Your soul healing technique hasn't reached a proficient level yet. Even with divine power blessing. Your magic power is too weak to resonate with it.
After she wakes up, she will definitely lose some of her previous memories.
This scared the Zhang family head. What? This is bad. What if something happens to Tunso?
Tran Trongan will make her sell salt. At this time, Thuan Hai took action.
Circles entered Tunso's head.
Fortunately, I traveled the interstellar realm for many years.
And learned a secret technique that can awaken her.
Remember, to heal the soul, you have to penetrate deep into the other person's soul ruler. And heal the shattered fragments of memory. Although, you may learn some of the other person's secrets.
It doesn't matter. Saving lives is paramount. I've reminded you many times. To constantly strengthen your magical thinking power. In order to control the soul tree of the Zhang family. Although she will wake up. If she loses her memory. And forgets important people. It will be very painful.
After a while, Thuan Hai withdrew her divine power and smiled happily.
I've finished repairing her soul. She'll wake up soon.
This made the Zhang family head
breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you, Thuan Hai. She thought to herself. It's a good thing I have your help. Tunso
finally has her soul stabilized.
Otherwise, Tran Trongan
would make me sell salt.
After a while,
Zhang Tunso started to wake up.
She smiled slightly and let out a moan. Hearing her voice, the Zhang family head was overjoyed. Tunso, you're finally awake.
Tunso opened her eyes and looked at the unfamiliar surroundings. But she didn't care. She only thought of her Tran Trongan.
She was panicking. Changnian, he's still fighting. I had to go help him.
Seeing this, the Zhang family head comforted her.
The war is over. He's doing well.
You should take care of yourself first. But suddenly Tunso remembered that Thuan Hai was here. She turned to her and said, Goddess.
Thank you for saving me. Not only I and the Zhang family are grateful, but Tran Trong Nian will also be grateful to you.
Hearing this, Huang Hai was confused.
Chang Nian? What does this had to do with him? Nung Nian panicked. Oh my god. I was too happy and let it slip. Zhang Yanjiao Tian, who had been eavesdropping, said. Tan So is Tran Trong Nian's wife. Of course. He will want to thank you for saving his wife. Huang Hai looked at her in surprise.
The word, wife, made her feel a little lost.
His wife?
Immediately, Zhang Nungnian ran over and covered her mouth.
Zhang Ngioc Tian, be careful what you say. But Ngioc Tian didn't understand. What did I do wrong?
At this time, Tran Trong Nian stopped hiding. He flew down from above to where the girls were gathered. He looked at them with loving eyes.
He didn't know who he was looking at. Perhaps it was Tunso, the one he had loved before.
Seeing her beloved appear, Zhang Tunso pulled away from
the Zhang family head and called out lovingly. Chang Nan, she ran towards him.
He also slowly walked towards her.
They embraced each other passionately,
making Zhang Tunso's tears of happiness
flow endlessly.
I'm here, Chang Nan. He looked at his beloved
with joy.
When she woke up, he comforted her and held her in his arms. Seeing this, Huang Hai's eyes were blank. She was happy for the one she had loved for 10,000,005 years,
who had finally reunited with him,
but sad to see him hugging another girl.
Suddenly, at this time, a teleportation array appeared right there, accompanied by a sour voice.
I'll take care of him for you. It turned out that Han Hai had brought Lin Bo Nhi and the others here.
She said softly. Some girls don't believe that I'm the first one to have a relationship with you. Do you understand?
You had to confirm my status as your first wife.
But when she saw Tran Trongan hugging another girl, her face was full of anger. At this time, the system announced. Random mission detected.
Host has encountered a peach blossom event.
Please invite 3 women to watch the Lantern Festival
and turn it into a harmonious and friendly relationship
with deep affection. Mission reward: 1 invincible card for 1 minute. This lecherous system wants me to have a harem. Tran Trongan thought. It wants me to take all 3 of them as my wives. I wonder who will be the empress. Who will be the imperial concubine?
And who will be the concubines?
Hearing this, Tran Trongan cried out in frustration. Damn it! This system is doing this on purpose. At this time, the women shouted in unison. You bastard! To be continued.
The Lantern Festival in Ninchao began,
signaling the start of a new year.
On this day, no matter what grudges or hatred they had,
no matter what schemes or power struggles they were involved in, everything would be put aside. Everyone would release lanterns to pray for a good new year. The lanterns that flew higher represented wishes that would be more likely to come true. The CEO wished everyone a lucky and prosperous new year. At this time, in a tavern in the city, a storyteller was entertaining everyone with a story about a love triangle. It was about a man named Lee who already had a girlfriend back home. But he wasn't satisfied. He continued to flirt with other women, even having an affair
with his girlfriend's best friend. When his girlfriend found out the truth,
she couldn't accept it
and stabbed him to death.
But the bad luck wasn't over yet. The girl was a cold-blooded person. She killed her best friend as well. Many years later, the assassin who had killed Lee went to another place. It was a truly sad and regrettable story. The audience sighed. If you want to enjoy everyone's blessings without lifting a finger, then you first need an immortal body. Then, no one would be able to kill you. Or, have a sweet tongue and be good at coaxing young ladies. Then, you can always make all the women happy.
At that moment, a young man spoke up.
What if a man encounters a similar situation? Or perhaps even worse? How could he resolve such a predicament? The storyteller didn't quite understand. You mean if his beloved wife, his close friend, and his companion through thick and thin all ask him whom he loves,
And whom he chooses. How would he respond? How could he break this deadlock? While the storyteller was still lost in contemplation, the crowd began to debate among themselves. If all the women were gathered in one place, even if the man was as smooth-talking as they come, a fight would surely break out. Best case scenario, they would turn on each other. Worst case scenario, they would gang up on the man. I'm afraid the poor fellow would meet with disaster. Someone else chimed in. But what if the man was a genius? What if he could handle the situation harmoniously? Hearing that, the storyteller exclaimed. Even if he was a genius, he wouldn't be able to resolve such a predicament. If someone truly found themselves in such an awful situation, their fate would surely be a tragic one. This was precisely the scene that was unfolding for Tran Trongen. At that moment, he was sitting face to face with 3 women, while the system announced, random mission detected. Host has encountered a peach blossom battle. Please invite these 3 women to the Lantern Festival. Develop it into a deeper and more harmonious love. Mission reward: 1 invincible card for 1 minute. This was truly a classic case of a man who could only pray for good fortune. When caught in such a predicament, Tran Tron unhesitantly and awkwardly raised a cup of tea to offer to the women. Who knows how difficult this peach blossom battle will be? He wondered. When he offered the tea, all 3 women reached out to take it at the same time. An intense murderous aura emanated from them. None of them would yield. Each believed the cup was meant for her. Their expressions were warlike. So, Tran Tron unquickly drank the tea himself, not giving it to any of the women. Reunion is a joyous occasion. Feel free to do whatever you like. I'll drink to that. This made the 3 women fume. Outside, Bao Nhi, Hong Wai, and Bak Wei were hiding and peeking inside. Bao Nhi thought that this might be the most difficult problem that her master had ever faced. She hoped that they wouldn't find out about her relationship with her master. Looking at their faces, she felt nervous. Bak Wei immediately agreed. If we were found out, we would be severely punished. Hong Wai was also feeling the tension inside. If we were discovered, we'd be punished without mercy. After all, those 3 women were much stronger than the 3 of them. The atmosphere inside was incredibly tense. Nanyu, the 5th floor manager, sighed. I have fought on many battlefields, and have long since disregarded life and death. But now, witnessing this scene, it stirred an indescribable tension within me. A tension that has laid dormant for many years. At this point, Han Hai made the first move. She crushed the teacup in her hand and said coldly, We've been sitting here for quite a while now, Chang'an. But you still haven't introduced us to each other. Why is it that before this, you never once mentioned any other woman to me? Tran Trongen was left utterly speechless. The system immediately materialized, acting as his advisor. This is a trap, host. The moment you respond, it'll be the same as officially confirming this woman's status. But Tran Trongen was a sharp fellow. There was nothing he didn't understand. I didn't need you to point that out. Between the 2 of us, why would we need Chang'an to make introductions? I still remember the shameful things you did as a child. Do you need me to jog your memory a bit? That matter shouldn't. Suddenly, Huang Hai spoke up, coming to Tran Trongen's rescue. This enraged Han Hai, infuriated by her senior sister's interference. Next, it was Huang Hai's turn to take the stage. She boldly took his hand. Chang'an, I haven't been by your side for so many years. It's only natural that you would be captivated by the dazzling world outside. I understand. But now I'm back. And I will never leave your side again. Han Hai was spitting blood with rage. Huang Hai, after millions of years apart, your ability to play the victim has truly reached new heights. What do you mean by, now you're back? It sounds as if Chang'an has already acknowledged you. Huang Hai chuckled softly. Matters between Chang'an and me are of no concern to you, junior sister. There's no need for you to worry. Only Jiang Tongso was confused. She was the weakest of the 3, and therefore a bit timid. But when it came to shyness, she was second to none. She asked in a sweet voice, like a kitten. Husband, is our relationship a sham?
This made Tran Trong choke. It's not what you think, he thought to himself. I've been too careless. This peach blossom battle is too difficult to handle. Just what in the world is going on here? Can someone please explain? Out of the three of us, you can only choose one. Han Hai pressed, and Thuong Hai agreed. I believe Chang'an will make the right choice. Only Jiang Tong so remained silent. But she joined the other two, her eyes fixed on him expectantly. Inside Tran Trong'an's mind, a battle was raging with the system. He roared, they want to kill each other. Tell me, how can I make them reconcile? Tell me, the system laughed gleefully. Calm down, host. They just want to fight for your affection. Hee hee, so exciting, so interesting. Tran Trong'an was speechless at this fellow. Suddenly, an idea came to him. I have a way. The system was curious. Host, have you found a solution? After carefully considering their questions, I've realized that they aren't concerned about each other's existence, but rather my attitude. Therefore, the more I explain, the more complicated things will become. Tran Trong'an explained softly to the system. At this time, Han Hai was clasping her hands together, preparing her move. She thought to herself, I originally intended to use this move to counter Thuong Hai's seduction, but it should have a similar effect now. So, she cast the Beauty's Heart secret technique. A secret art that charmed the hearts of others, causing them to fall in love with the caster, but within his invincible domain. Such techniques were useless. The system informed him. Host, you have sealed the spell cast by Han Hai. She'll never notice the difference. Seeing Tran Trong'an sitting silently, and placing Thuong Hai's hand back on her lap, Han Hai assumed that her secret technique had taken effect so quickly. Thuong Hai looked at him, a hint of surprise in her eyes. The system praised him. Host, you are truly courageous. Death is not far off. At that moment, Tran Trong'an spoke softly. You're being too loud. You're giving me a headache. Don't you just want to know the truth? Listen carefully. I'll only say this once. The woman I care about the most. He paused for a moment, as the three women stared at him, filled with anticipation and anxiety. They desperately wanted to know who it was. Outside, Boenshai, Hongwei, and Bakwei, who were hiding and eavesdropping, were also filled with anticipation. Senior is finally going to tell us. Master, are you crazy? If he names one, won't the other two go berserk and start a fight? Bao Nhi was a bit worried. Bakwei was aware of her own lowly status, and feared she had no hope. At that moment, Tran Trong'an continued. First of all, she and I have done a lot of adult things together, and we never got tired of it. So, should we continue talking about this? Hearing this made the three girls' eyes sharpen like knives. How could he do those things with someone else? When did this Chang Nan become so bold? So how can we be chosen? That woman is someone else? The three of them asked simultaneously. Chen Chang Nan replied, of course it could be someone else. Someone I met by chance on a special occasion. Someone I felt love at first sight with. Someone I felt a meeting of minds and hearts with. From the first glance, she knew her cultivation could not compare with mine, so she has always secretly tried her best, hoping that one day she can change everyone's prejudice and can confidently walk beside me. Hearing this, Chang 11 thought of everything in the past. She felt that was he talking about her? She had worked so hard, 10 million times over, just to be worthy of him. It turned out that he knew everything she did. And it was true that she had only ever done that with him. He was her first and only man. In other words, she was the one he cared about most. Chang 11 blushed, touched. It was time to keep talking. Because of the war, we could only be temporarily separated. I hate that I don't have enough strength. I have no other way to break the cause and effect. To immediately run to her and tell her that I miss her all the time. Hearing this, Han Hai was struck by lightning. She must have been waiting for me for a long time. Just thinking about it makes my heart ache. And then, Han Hai felt that the person he was talking about was really her. And she looked like she was about to cry with emotion. After so many years of waiting, she really had wanted to give up. Moreover, she and him had been fighting fiercely in bed for days on end.
As expected, the person he cared about most was her.
While she was feeling emotional, Chen Chang'an continued to act. If only
I, Chen Chang'an, were a little stronger.
I would definitely keep you by my side. And not let us be separated anymore.
The atmosphere is thick with love and affection.
I can swear to the heavenly Tao. Chen Chang'an, I absolutely have no other lovers.
He's really something.
Even the heavenly Tao is your servant. And you're bringing it up to. Who dares to judge you? The system immediately rejoiced. Host, system, I admire you. This scene is definitely going to be explosive. Fireworks signal the new year. You think restoring morale is that simple? It seems.
I need to find an opportunity to further train my spiritual law.
For this newbie. After satisfying Lei, go ask third brother. How to handle this intergalactic tournament token. How are we supposed to deal with this?
Hearing this, he waved his hand dismissively.
You handle it.
He had no interest in this matter. He had 3 girls who needed him to dig wells every day.
Seizing the opportunity, Lei took out the token and said obediently. Yes, sir. Although the rewards for the top 3 in this tournament are quite attractive. But our third brother, Chang'an, doesn't need them at all.
Hearing this piqued his interest.
He teleported closer and asked. How attractive can they be? This startled Lei. Oh. He then explained. This tournament has 3 rankings. First place is kept secret.
No one has ever achieved first place. So no one knows what it is.
Second place receives a direct visit to the divine realm.
And third place, the continent can be upgraded by 1 level. The level of a continent limits the cultivation realms
of cultivators on that continent.
The cultivators in barren lands
can only reach the immortal emperor realm. Those in fertile lands can reach the divine realm. Perhaps even higher.
Hearing this, Tran Trangan thought to himself.
This is information I've never heard before.
He ordered Lei, continue.
So Lei continued.
As the continent's level increases, the spiritual energy it provides for its inhabitants increases. The heavenly Tao also grows stronger.
Which means I'll gradually mature. The more I mature,
the stronger the continent's laws become.
The continent will be more stable. And its fortune will grow.
So the higher the continent's level, the stronger the heavenly Tao.
And the stronger the heavenly Tao, the more prosperous the continent becomes, right? Tran Trangan pondered this. Lei beamed. That's right, third brother. Everything in this world moves and lives according to its own laws. After hundreds of millions of years of refinement
and nourishment by the great Tao,
rules become laws. Among countless laws, only 1 or 2 randomly gain a connection to the heavens and awaken. Spiritual energy gathers and gives birth to the heavenly Tao. Hearing his explanation, Tran Trangan was impressed. This guy was a walking encyclopedia. Lei continued. Excitedly, these heavenly Taos are not bound by the pre-existing heavenly Tao.
They control the movement of the stars
and even the transformation of heaven and earth. So third brother, don't look at me like that. I've actually lived for hundreds of millions of years. You've lived for hundreds of millions of years. And you're still this weak? Just 2 divine envoys scared you shitless? Tran Trangan's voice was full of disdain. Heavenly Taos have levels too. My Dharma heart hasn't fully matured yet. It can still develop. But he was curious. What level are you at? Lei's expression became slightly embarrassed. Heavenly Taos are divided into rudimentary, spiritual, Dharma, and the law. In that order.
A heavenly Tao that has just grasped the laws. A rudimentary heavenly Tao that masters the laws. A heavenly Tao that can modify the laws itself. And a heavenly Tao that embodies the laws.
I'm still a child. I've only been comprehending the laws for a few 100 million years. You're a rudimentary heavenly Tao. I figured as much. Tran Trangan's expression was full of mockery. Lei, struck in the heart, was speechless. Tran Trangan glanced at him and thought, I understand. The third place reward in the intergalactic tournament is very important to the heavenly Tao. And the second place reward is a divine spark. My avatar hasn't increased its divine power for a long time. If I obtain the divine spark, I can reach the next level avatar. An angel avatar.
Furthermore, I can take this opportunity to train Lei some more.
My heavenly Tao can't just stay at the rudimentary level. It's rare to receive an invitation from the angels. I had to perform well in this tournament.
Lei was still feeling smug.
But he didn't know
that he was about to undergo intense training. Training that would constantly put his life in danger. They had arrived at the outer realm
of the angels. As they set foot, Dula informed him, "This is the place, senior." He pointed to a gate ahead. "This is the teleportation gate, set up by the gods. Enter it, and it will take you directly to the tournament hall. The intergalactic tournament
will officially begin in 2 hours.
As is tradition. Such a grand formation."
Tran Tronin was surprised.
A teleportation formation usually attracts such a crowd? Is it always this grand? Hearing this, Dula recalled. It seems this is the first time it's been this grand. After the incident 10 million 5 years ago,
the first intergalactic tournament was postponed for a long time.
This time, the angels are taking it very seriously. So the rewards for the winners have been meticulously prepared. All rare and unparalleled treasures. This has attracted top experts from all corners of the universe to compete. There may be casualties and endless conflicts.
Please be careful, senior.
Hearing Dula's warning, he felt that
reviving another avatar with invincible strength was the right decision.
No telling what would happen here. But suddenly,
Tran Tronin sensed
that the energy of this formation
was similar to the time-space divine power
he had obtained from that girl.
This surprised him.
Could it be
that the time-space goddess, Tian Fong Tran,
was also here?
This was just a thought.
Dula and his wife didn't know.
They were saying, "Senior,
if there's nothing else,
we'll take our leave."
Being near this demon for another second would make their minds snap. Tran Tronin glanced at them. "Don't forget your promise to me back in the 9 continents." Mentioning this made them tremble.
They looked like they were attending their own funeral.
"We will definitely keep our promise."
They broke out in a cold sweat as they assured him. They remembered just half an hour ago, back in the 9 continents,
when Tran Tronin had beaten them senseless.
They were still on their knees. Tran Tronin asked softly,
"Your judge is in the intergalactic tournament, right?" "Right?" After receiving confirmation,
he leaned close to the wife and whispered,
"Auntie, do me a favor. Once this is done, then."
It seemed like this favor was quite delicate, as the woman blushed. After hearing him out, she said, "Senior,
I can't do that." She thought to herself, "What would my husband think if I did that? No way." Was he asking her to take indecent pictures?
Seeing her refusal, Tran Tronin said nothing.
He grabbed Dula's head, making him panic. "No, you won't do it." Tran Tronin's gaze turned icy. Divine power from his fingertips pressed against Dula's temple.
If she uttered another word of refusal,
she would instantly become an angel widow. This terrified the couple. "Auntie, you don't seem to understand your current situation. Do you think only you angels get to set the rules and order us around? Why should we be controlled by constellations? From the moment we're born? You wouldn't want your husband to be harmed, right?" Tran Tronin threatened them.
At this point, no matter how big her breasts were,
she couldn't resist this demon.
She bowed her head helplessly.
We promise."
She looked at her husband. She felt like she had married the wrong man.
"Dula, you've gotten me into so much trouble. You were so good at boasting. And now, we're like fish on a chopping block, being tortured. We can only take it one step at a time. One step at a time." She hoped
that this wouldn't be discovered by the other angels.
Only Dula was feeling wronged. He hadn't realized
what kind of terrifying monster he had encountered.
He watched as Tran Tronin entered the teleportation formation. They thought about his instructions. They were to be his informants in the upcoming tournament. Attract. Lure. Tempt other angels to come, so he could devour them.
As he stepped out of the formation,
Trantronin's eyes widened
at the scene before him.
This was the eastern area of the realm. The tournament waiting hall,
where the contestants gathered. Upon his arrival, he was the 188th person.
Finally, everyone was here. He looked around, sizing everyone up, which annoyed a certain beast. What the hell are you looking at? I'm wearing underwear, you know. You're
the last one here, kid.
Looking at Trantronin's face,
they were all surprised.
Who is he? Never seen him before.
They had traveled for millions of years
to many realms,
and had never heard of or seen anyone like him.
They assumed he was just a small fry from some backwater province. Just some lucky guy who got a token. Small potatoes. Cannon fodder. They didn't care anymore. Suddenly, someone spoke. This intergalactic tournament isn't just full of trash. Look at those guys over there. Hearing his voice, everyone recognized him. It was Huin Min,
the cold leader protected by the evil god. He had killed many heavenly chosen
of his generation. The person he was pointing at was Lam Ky Van Dao,
the saint who rose to prominence in the 7 distant continents.
With a frail and weak physique. For hundreds of thousands of years, he led his tribe against countless intergalactic beasts, becoming the youngest continent lord,
known as the Eastern Star.
And the masked one was Manhwa, master of the Lathian continent, a heavenly chosen,
with world-shattering power.
He was arrogant
and looked down on his peers. He learned the secret techniques of ancient gods, and within 10,000 years,
broke through to the immortal emperor realm, suppressing the aquatic race in the outer realm, shaking the heavens. And that sexy lady
was the master of the Bak Lin continent,
not Lan Fairy.
She swept through 8 wild star realms and fought against foreign races.
Everyone saw that. After she returned,
she claimed the position of Netherworld Master. She banished all men from the continent,
forcibly changing it
and renaming it Te Luong Nu Quoc.
However, the gods and surrounding continents
never recognized her as
the Queen of Te Luong Nu Quoc.
But hearing about this Te Nun Nu Quoc continent,
it's full of beautiful women, making the men's hearts race. They all wanted to go there and try their luck, to see if they could find a partner for dual cultivation. Suddenly, she sensed something. Her sharp eyes looked in a certain direction. From the heavens,
a large stone tablet appeared
in the center. This surprised everyone in the square. What was that? They didn't know.
From the stone tablet, a powerful divine force emanated,
along with an ancient aura and endless golden light. From within it,
a being similar to a heavenly Tao emerged,
but more tangible. It cheerfully announced, "Welcome, all contestants from the Eastern Realms, to the Intergalactic Tournament Waiting Hall, the most famous and anticipated event in the galaxy. I am the presiding judge of the Eastern region, Bauthan Lin Kin Tam."
So it was the spirit of the stone tablet.
Those who came here, some seeking breakthroughs,
some seeking the generous rewards,
and some simply seeking fame across all the realms. The Intergalactic Tournament can fulfill all your desires. As for how much you achieve, that depends on your own abilities. After his grand welcome speech, the spirit explained the rules.
Now, I will verify your identities and assess your strength before the tournament officially begins.
The rules this time are different from previous years. Each of you will strike the sacred mirror with all your might. This mirror
will reveal your potential.
It will show your strategic value. The higher the value, the greater your talent.
Those with a value between 50 and 70 are formidable talents. Those with 70 to 80 are exceptional talents.
Those with 80 to 90 are unparalleled talents, once in 1,000 years. And finally, those with a value between 90 and 100 are talents that appear once in tens of thousands of years. At this point, The spirit's voice boomed like a loudspeaker. A megaphone. Anyone who demonstrates exceptional talent in this assessment has the chance to be chosen by the angels and receive a blessing of divine power from the angels in the following rounds. This stunned the contestants. They had never heard of this in previous tournaments. If they received a divine blessing from an angel, they would have a huge advantage in the individual battles. Winning battles would be a piece of cake. But Tran Trongan thought, if the angels intervene, then the balance and fairness of the intergalactic tournament would be broken. The tournament hadn't even begun, and they were already playing favorites? Weren't the angels worried people would withdraw out of fear? Or was there something the angels were looking for in the later rounds? He couldn't figure it out for now. But one thing he was sure of. Those who came here were all heavenly chosen. Proud and defiant. These people didn't know the meaning of fear. The young man, Lam Ky, was eager to be the first to test his strength. He spoke loudly. Once they intervene, this is no longer a simple test of strategic potential. I've never had the chance to fight against those of the same realm as me. But now it's different. Now we can rely on our own strength to determine our own fate. Whoever wins will gain resources. Only the strongest can survive. Even the angels are watching. This is a battle for resources. Let's see who can seize the most, the fastest, and the best. Lam Ky smiled confidently. He gathered his strongest divine power in his fist and struck the sacred mirror. The mirror emitted a brilliant golden light. Seeing this power, the contestants were shocked. What terrifying strength! He might not have reached a perfect score, but it wouldn't be lower than 95. They speculated. On the mirror. On the mirror. Lam Kai's score gradually appeared. Lam Kai's strategic potential value is 84 points. Achieving the evaluation. Unparalleled talent. The spirit announced this, causing a stir among the crowd. Judging by Lam Kai's expression, it seemed he wasn't satisfied with his own performance. After all, he was the youngest continent lord in the Eastern Realms. He should have scored at least 90 points. His face darkened. I used all my strength. I even intended to shatter the mirror. But I only got 84 points? He was unwilling to accept this. He said to the spirit, "Let me try again." I didn't use all my power. But the spirit refused. You only get one chance. If everyone was like you, this rule wouldn't exist. This would never end. The other contestants laughed mockingly. Ha ha ha. He's getting anxious. It means this stone tablet reflects true strength. It can't be easily destroyed. That's obvious. Even leaving a mark is difficult. What are we waiting for? It's our turn. A wave of talents rushed forward to test their strength. 2 Gundai. Mid-level Immortal Emperor. Beast Fighting Continent. Strategic Potential. 81 Luke G. Peak Immortal Emperor. Din Fong Lin Hu Continent. Strategic Potential. Only 56. Gi Mai-Na. Mid-level Immortal Emperor. Ha Geosai Continent. Strategic Potential. 82. The current rankings are: first, Lam Ky. Peak Immortal Emperor. 7 Distant Continents. Strategic Potential. 84, second. Gi Mai-Na. Mid-level Immortal Emperor. Ha Geosai Continent. Strategic Potential. 82, third. So Hong Ky. Peak Immortal Emperor. Great Ben Phap Continent. Strategic Potential. 81, fourth. 2 Gundai. Mid-level Immortal Emperor. Beast Fighting Continent. Strategic Potential. 72, fifth. Luke Dick. Peak Immortal Emperor. Hulin Continent. Strategic Potential. 56, sixth. Tai Kong. Peak Immortal Emperor. Lam 2 Continent. Strategic Potential.
38, many had stepped forward to try. But no one had surpassed 90. They all looked at the three from Huiyan Min cult. The cult leader, Manhwa, and Naklan Fairy. Only these three could achieve it. But who among them would be the first? At this time, a woman approached Tran Trangan and asked softly, "Brother, haven't you tried yet?" He chuckled and waved his hand, "No rush. I'm observing the other contestants." He was telling the truth. But to her ears, it sounded arrogant. She turned to leave. "No rush? Ha ha ha. I think this guy is scared shitless by those monstrous talents. He doesn't dare try." To avoid losing face, she mocked, "If you delay any longer, you'll miss your chance to receive a blessing from the angels." She didn't care anymore. Looking at those heavenly chosen, she felt apprehensive. Oh my god. I have to fight against those monsters? Should I find someone powerful to cling to? I can't just stand here and end up selling salt like that idiot, she thought to herself, unaware that she had just missed a supreme expert. The spirit called out for the next person. A smartly dressed young man stepped forward. But he seemed lost and headed toward the exit, making the other contestants speechless. "You're going the wrong way. It's this way." He quickly thanked them and followed their directions. Does this guy look familiar? As he walked, he seemed embarrassed. Under everyone's gaze. Everyone's staring at me. The other contestants lost their patience. Who is this guy? He can't even tell directions. How pathetic. He's probably just a nobody like the guy who almost came late. Just here to make up the numbers. His strength must be laughably weak. Hearing their mockery, he felt a bit annoyed. Shout Chain. I told you we shouldn't have come. But it was too late now. They were already here. He figured he'd just do the bare minimum and then go home. He gently clenched his fist, gathering spiritual energy in his hand. Just the aura he emitted overwhelmed the nearby contestants. They were suffocating. Everyone was shocked. This power. No one who had stepped on the platform possessed it. Looking at the number that appeared on the stone tablet, the spirit announced loudly. Deep to Lam. Wuji Continent. Chi Refining Stage. Strategic Potential. 91 points. The contestants were astounded. Chi Refining Stage? How can someone at Chi Refining Stage surpass 90 points? Is this a mistake? At the same time, the Strategic Potential rankings change. Deep to Lam of the Wuji Continent jumped to first place, pushing Lam KY of the 7 distant continents to second. The whole square erupted in noise. I've heard that some geniuses are favored by the heavenly Tao. They receive its blessings, even if their cultivation is insufficient. Their potential is no less than that of powerhouses. But a barren land like the Wuji Continent, the angels don't even care about it. And yet, it produced such a monstrous talent? Reaching an ancient level of strategic value? With this kind of potential, his cultivation should be skyrocketing. Why is this kid still at such a low realm? What level of heavenly Tao have you cultivated to? Hearing this, the young man didn't know how to answer. He replied honestly. I've been cultivating for 100,000 years. But I'm still at Chi Refining Stage. I can't break through. I've tried everything. I've been stuck in my cave, cultivating non-stop, constantly trying to improve. I don't even know what level I've reached. A young man who'd been cultivating for 100,000 years. Who knew, maybe in the future, he'd discover salted fish and Coca-Cola alongside Tran Trongan. The contestants this time were more interesting than those from previous years. They might last a bit longer. The spirit smiled, looking at the youngsters below. At this time, Ngosilan Nuda stepped forward. She decided to try her luck. Seeing her approach, the spirit was surprised. Oh, isn't this the woman who wants to sever karma with time and build a feminist continent? She wants to prove herself. But she achieved a shameful score of only 56 strategic potential points. In the previous tournament, seeing her draw her sword, he became even more disdainful.
That sword drawing technique again? Weren't her 7 defeats humiliating enough? But Ngoc Lan didn't care what others thought.
She slashed at the spirit.
Seeing the sacred mirror, the spirit panicked. It hadn't expected her single strike to crack the mirror. The mirror cracked. Not only that, the strategic potential score that appeared was a perfect score. The entire hall erupted. Gasps of astonishment filled the air. 100 points? The maximum strategic potential? After her attack, she turned and left. Her chest puffed out proudly. This. No one can surpass this score. This is blatant bullying, leaving no room for anyone else. Those who followed would feel immense pressure from her perfect score. The audience began to speculate. At this time, Ngoc Lan knew to declared. This time, I will win the intergalactic tournament. Her confidence was overwhelming. Far away, Tran Trong Nin and Lu were also discussing. Third brother, that girl possesses the aura of Heavenly Dao Law. Tran Trong Nin was surprised. He asked, Heavenly Dao Law? Really? The other contestants, hearing her words, were shocked. She actually achieved a perfect score? She lives up to her title of Ngoc Lan Nude. Lu continued to explain. All those who successfully undergo tribulation receive a baptism from the Heavenly Dao Lightning Tribulation. If they can withstand it, they have a chance to comprehend Heavenly Dao laws. Within the tribulation, the Heavenly Dao laws within the Lightning Tribulation are ever-changing. Some comprehend the Lightning Dao. Others comprehend other laws. And some don't comprehend anything at all. It depends on their talent and destiny. No two are the same. Hearing this explanation, he found it quite interesting. He looked at Ngoc Lan Nude and asked, Can you tell what kind of Heavenly Dao law she possesses? Lu shook his head. I can't tell. The law on her is too faint. It seems she hasn't comprehended much. Tran Trong Nin smiled at Lu, a hint of danger in his eyes. Why don't you hit me with your lightning tribulation again sometime? Let's see if I can comprehend any Heavenly Dao laws. This terrified Lu. Third brother. How could I possibly strike my own father? In the square, the spirit shouted. Next. The assessment isn't over yet. But under Ngoc Lan Nude's brilliance, the contestants lost their courage. Ngoc Lan Nude achieved a perfect score. Even if we try, we can't surpass her. Others agreed. That's right. We came here to become the strongest. If we know we can't surpass her, what's the point of this assessment? It's meaningless. Seeing them about to give up, the spirit shouted. You want to give up? He was furious. This is a rule set by the angels. If you refuse the assessment, you forfeit your right to participate in the intergalactic tournament. And don't blame me for not warning you. If you give up and return home, your continence will be downgraded by 1 level. This shocked the contestants. Forget about themselves. But if their continence weakened, wouldn't their cultivation suffer? The spirit smirked. I forgot to mention. The Eastern Starfield. And the Eastern region is a barbaric land? What's left for a barbaric land? Is there any lower level to drop to? It's just the poorest and lowest land. Look at it. Happily intimidating other contestants. It's really annoying. What a nuisance. But they can't do anything about it. It's right. At this time, Chen Chang'an said softly. If no one dares to try, then let me try. He slowly walked forward and introduced himself. Lord of the 6 continents. 9 provinces. Chen Chang'an. The contestants were surprised to see him. Isn't this the last contestant? Who almost arrived late? They thought that even those monstrous geniuses didn't dare to make a move. But this person dared to show his face?
He probably just wanted to make a casual attempt to pass this stage.
After all, if he withdrew, his continent would also be downgraded. On one side,
The blue-haired girl, who had spoken to Chen Chang'an earlier, looked at him and thought that no matter who went up to the stage now, they probably wouldn't be able to surpass 100 points. So even if they got a poor score,
no one would notice them and laugh at them. But even so, the funny thing is,
your fate has already been decided.
Now, everyone has started forming alliances with each other. Yes. During the assessment, these people
Had already found and decided on their teams of 5.
Those who didn't have a team and fought alone would definitely end up miserable.
She looked at the strong contestants.
She was lucky
to have hugged Yi Xiaolin's thigh in time. Therefore, she believed that in the team battle, later, she would also be able to display her skills. Then she turned to look at Chen Chang'an.
As for you, the lord from the 6 continents,
your 9 provinces are doomed.
Seeing Chen Chang'an approach, Xi Ling didn't think much of it. Interesting. Let's begin.
It felt contempt in its heart.
Anyway, this was probably just a formality. At this time, Chen Chang'an didn't say much more.
He simply swung his hand and used his fist
to punch the spirit measuring stone.
It caused the stone to shatter into small pieces,
splattering everywhere. This frightened Xi Ling. It couldn't believe the terrifying scene before its eyes.
The contestants were the same. They looked at the spirit measuring stone in shock.
The stone.
They didn't dare to speak because they were too scared. Even the 10,000-year-old refinement prodigy was a little surprised.
He thought to himself, so the spirit measuring stone can be broken? I didn't even know that.
If he had known, he would have increased his spiritual power.
And he might have broken it too. However, he also didn't know how strong he really was.
Looking at Chen Chang'an, he thought that this person was indeed very powerful. At this moment, in the middle of the square,
there was no longer a spirit measuring stone.
There was only an empty space with rubble,
making everyone tremble.
Xi Ling, speechless, followed Chen Chang'an's figure with its eyes.
How? How is this possible?
The sacred spirit measuring stone trembled as it looked at its own treasure.
The contestants couldn't believe. Was the stone broken into pieces by him? Right?
The spirit measuring stone represents the results that have been passed down for 1,000 generations.
It absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and was created by angels after many years. No one should be able to break it.
Even the Empress, when she scored a perfect 100, only caused a crack to appear on the spirit measuring stone.
But this person was able to completely shatter it? Everyone is unaware that he is an I.
He just said that he came from the continent of 9 provinces.
But the immortal fate of the 9 provinces continent is very weak. So in this world, how can there be a strong person? Even stronger than the ancient Chang'e? Everyone remembered his name, Chen Chang'an. The masked man was still calculating secretly. He could actually shatter the spirit steel into pieces.
It shows that the overall strength of this person would be no less than himself.
Are all the nameless people in this era? Are they all that abnormal? Right? He was also very happy. Empress Yulan also remembered
the name of the person who struck the spirit garden, carved in her mind.
9 provinces continent, Chen Chang'an. One day, there will be a battle between us.
She wouldn't be afraid either.
At this time, the spirit Qi flew over to examine it. Looking from beginning to end, Chen Chang'an wondered what was going on. He wasn't seriously injured by the backlash from being listed on the steel. Does the spirit steel have any hidden heavenly law? Great reincarnation. Even if the spirit steel is damaged and cracked, it can also recover automatically by sucking the life force of the attacker. Then it flew over to look at the broken spirit steel. Originally, Kai Zue's vitality would be sucked away by it. The steel would be restored until it returned to its original intact state. Because after the Empress checked, it was cracked. But now it seems that the spirit steel has turned into a pile of dry, crumbling stone. It collapsed to the ground, crying its eyes out. This loss was too much for it. This was the treasure of the spirit steel, given to it by the angels. Chen Chang'an walked up to it. What should we do now? Didn't they announce it already? This startled the spirit chi.
Chen Chang'an continued to rub salt in its wound. Stop kneeling, get up, and announce it.
Why don't you evaluate it? How many points did my strategic potential achieve? How many points did I get?
The broken steel has no points.
We can only rely on this spirit chi now.
At the same time, somewhere else,
known as the God Realm, the Temple of Immortality, many giant figures were sitting.
This was the place where the angels were in the Temple of God. Suddenly, a golden stone emitted light,
vibrating continuously. Then it shattered, turning into drops of golden immortal chi, blending into the air, falling down with a voice. It seems
the steel in the eastern starfield has been destroyed.
At this time, another voice sounded. The heavenly law of the spirit chi.
That stone had long shown flaws,
loopholes. It's not surprising that it could be broken by any eye at any time. By any eye at any time.
However, he also said
that he had sensed an unusual aura
in the eastern starfield. He chuckled because this had also made him happy for a long time. He had never felt so excited before.
Continuing from before.
At this time, the spirit chi was crying its eyes out.
But it had to continue its duty and said loudly, now that the spirit steel has been destroyed, we can only skip the strategy test and move on to our next step. On a mountainside,
there were many bright spots of light numbered in order.
Looking at this scene, the group of the contestants were very curious about what this meant. Could it be we had to find caves to stand in? But everyone's location is different. What does this mean?
The spirit chi continued to explain to these guys. Behind this old man is the 188-level immortal mountain. The location corresponds to the original positions of the 6 lords.
After everyone has completed their strategic assessment, you just need to find the position
that corresponds to your strategic potential ranking
and sit down. The position will be determined based on the strategic potential leaderboard.
At this point, the contestants look dangerous.
But now that the steel has been destroyed,
there are still many who haven't determined their own ranking. Then they can directly choose a corresponding cave to sit in.
Each cave has no limit on the number of people, and the opportunities for each rank are different.
At this time, Chen Qianan remained silent. He stood with his arms crossed, observing everything, thinking to himself.
In other words, some people with high strength, who haven't undergone the strategic assessment yet, could also choose to enter the lower-level caves. Pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger. This so-called opportunity is probably just talk to deceive low-level cultivators into risking their lives to fight. But I'm not sure if the higher the ranking, the greater the opportunity or the greater the danger. That's something this guy hasn't explained clearly.
At this time, the guy named Long spoke up first and asked,
I have a question. What's the point of choosing the first position? And what's the point of choosing the last one? This was something that many of the powerful lords present were concerned about.
As soon as he finished speaking, a beam of emerald green golden light descended from the sky, shining directly on this guy's position.
And with that, lightning crackled around him, surprising everyone. They didn't understand what was happening. But seeing this scene, the spirit chi suddenly jumped in realization. Oh my! How could I have forgotten such an important thing? It's all your fault for breaking the steel and disrupting my flow earlier. When immortals choose a cave, they first choose their support. That is, each beam of light represents a Lord God, and those chosen by the golden light will be blessed by the Lord God and gain a portion of divine power. Now an angel has chosen you. Hearing the spirit chi's words, at this moment, the contestants finally understood. It turns out that the angel chose that guy Lin Chi. What luck! At this time, in the sky, 2 beams of golden light, one purple and one blue, were also descending, signaling that more people would be chosen by the Lord Gods. Each Lord God had a different color of golden light. It turned out that these 2 beams of golden light fell upon the 2 masked guys with long monkey-like faces. Seeing this, the clan leaders looked over. Look! The famous and powerful lords. have all been chosen. That's right. Even though they haven't undergone the strategic assessment yet. But the Lord Gods could still sense their power.
The young man who had been cultivating for 100,000 years also had a beam of golden light descend upon him, surrounding him, making him extremely nervous. Wait a minute, Ishao is mistaken. Having achieved 91 points in strategic potential,
the spirit chat has also been chosen.
The contestants were envious. He's still only at the chi refining stage.
This is infuriating. Suddenly, at this moment, a dazzling golden light suddenly shot down beside
the muscular young man,
startling him. He looked around and then hurriedly called out to everyone. Look at Empress Yulan. She,
he stammered. She's been chosen by 2 gods at the same time. So, with her perfect score, 2 Lord Gods are vying for her. But she remained calm
and didn't react at all, silently sensing these golden lights, witnessing these achievements. The rest of the contestants who hadn't undergone the strategic assessment all looked towards Chun Xianan
with unkind eyes. If we could just take the strategic potential test
and get on the list, maybe
we would also earn the favor of the gods.
It's all because of that bastard.
He went crazy and smashed the Holy Spirit steel. He ruined the gods' plans. Surely, the gods won't choose him. But what made them feel even more powerless was that at this moment, another powerful beam of golden light descended upon Chun Xianan. All the contestants were speechless.
Seriously? Another god is willing to choose that bastard? How is that possible? But one of them, wanting to downplay his own misfortune, pointed at Empress Yulan. Empress Yulan only has 1 beam of golden light. Empress Yulan has 2 beams of golden light, which is still better than him.
While they were still arguing amongst themselves,
another surprise came.
Look, this time there are 4 beams of golden light coming at the same time.
When these beams of golden light descended, everyone present was stunned. Their jaws dropped in shock. A mix of admiration and fear. Because the 4 beams of golden light were swirling around Chun Xianan,
which surprised him a bit.
And the contestants
were completely dumbfounded.
5 gods have chosen this bastard at the same time? He surpassed Empress Yulan?
Seeing these golden lights colliding with each other, the crowd was even more astonished.
It seems like the gods are fighting over him. They're about to start a fight over him. Seeing this, the spirit chi flew over and laughed loudly. Congratulations! You're truly honored to be chosen by 5 gods at the same time. But you can only choose the blessing of 1 god. So it's best if you think carefully
before rejecting the other 4 gods. Then it turned to Empress Yulan and reminded her. Then you will have to reject 1 god. But its heart was filled with malicious thoughts. It laughed wickedly to itself.
The Lord Gods would never tolerate rejection. Even if
you receive the blessing of 1 Lord God,
then vice versa,
you will also be hated by the remaining 4 main gods.
This is the principle of, if you can't eat it, you destroy it. There was once a fool
who offended a main god before the official competition.
And then in the official competition, that person
received all kinds of care from that main god.
After that,
he was destroyed and turned into scum.
It turned
and looked at Tran Trang and with dangerous eyes, competing with the golden light.
Especially you. This time it's great.
Rejecting 1 by 4 main gods.
So,
be prepared to face the wrath of the 4 main gods.
I want to see you.
How can you survive leaving this interstellar competition?
Smashing my spirit tablet. This is the consequence you have to bear. But contrary to its desire, or everyone's thoughts, Tran Trang waved his cold, indifferent face and declared, no need to choose. Reject all.
This made the spirit and the contestants stunned.
Don't believe your ears anymore.
The spirit shouted in panic.
What the hell are you talking about? He said reject all? This is an opportunity
to receive a part of the divine power blessing from the main gods.
How many people wish for but all their lives can't have it? And yet you refuse? This kid keeps chattering, making Tran Trang and a little uncomfortable. I don't want to repeat it a second time.
At this time, the golden lights gradually receded.
No more fighting. And no longer surrounded Tran Trang Ant's body. He also looked up. Following the direction the golden lights receded. Looking at the colorful patterns from the sky. He guessed. 5 separate golden rays emanated from there? I feel malice.
Inside those golden rays.
Do not carry good intentions.
Want to bless him with divine power.
They're all evil people.
Looking at the air spirit, it's also frustrated. It seems that the main gods have withdrawn their choices.
It's too late for you to regret it.
It's a shame that if he had chosen
a main god, then the remaining 4
will be afraid of that god's face
and wouldn't dare to openly oppose. But now, I can only say good luck to you. Offending the 5 main gods, so what's left? To cry and grieve for? While he was still confused and sympathetic. Then Ngoc Lan Nu De next to him also spoke up. I also refuse all. Making Tran Trang and also surprised. Glanced at her. She whispered. I came here to prove myself. Outside help is just a burden. Instead of explaining her choice. This made the spirit speechless with these goods. All out of the ordinary like it. Where do you know that the girl in her heart is stormy? One of the 2 golden lights in it is relatively peaceful. Although it's not well intentioned. But the malice in it is also not obvious. This is a woman's 6th sense. Or some special ability. That
can make her feel the implications of the main god.
Outside in the golden light.
Except for a different main god, Kim Kwang.
It's like a venomous snake. Coldly lurking in the shadows. Staring at her. As if it could be ready to bite you in the back. Any time. Too dangerous. A cold shiver down my spine. And her extreme hatred. So choose to refuse all. At this point, the spirit's face was darker than the bottom of the pot. It's so mad. You think you're strong enough to not be afraid of anything anymore? Do you know what the choice of the main gods has? What does it mean? I've lived for hundreds of millions of years. This is the first time I've witnessed. There are such stupid cultivators as you guys. But didn't let him beak. Song Deep Tu Lam next to raised her hand with a bewildered expression, hugging. I want to refuse that too. This made the spirit speechless. Khan, the blue-haired girl, who previously chose to stand in this guy's team of 5. Then shocked, her eyes popped out. Thinking that following his team would be pollinated with him. It's over now. Just offended the main god. Didn't get the team blessing divine power. This team will become weak. Deep Tu Lam thought to herself, choosing a dirty buff would be fun. But it's like being closely monitored 24/7. It's too inconvenient to work. It's too inconvenient to want to go to Lam 2 to exchange. I had to refuse. So, only the spirit is constantly cursing. Deep Tu Lam, are you crazy? The guy with a bluffing face and an old monkey face. Being chosen by the main god, Kim Kwang. Also spoke up. I also refuse. Relying on external forces to be at the top is not interesting. Yeah, I hate being inside. Myself has the power of others. This made the spirit not understand anything. What the hell? These 6th generation lords of the Eastern realms. What nonsense are you talking about? Lam 7 also refused. If that's the case, then in this case, add 1 more slot for me. With them. Making the contestants surprised. Don't understand why. Even someone as power hungry as Lam KY also refused. KY Lin's face is now black as the bottom of a pot. It angrily cut. Cut you. A bunch of frogs at the bottom of the well. Don't know what the sky is high and the earth is thick, in this case. I can only reluctantly reveal secret information to you. This should have been. Can only be announced when the official competition begins. That is the next contest. Will take place in a challenge RR format. Golden and those who are blessed by the main god will have a huge advantage. Right from the start. This is divine grace that the main gods have bestowed. Is your blessing. If you are careful, you should appreciate it. It made a wary face.
looking towards Tran Trong Nin and the others.
Don't learn from some blind frogs. Sitting at the bottom of the well. Thinking there's something else. Thinking that they cultivate. Don't need the help of the gods.
But in fact your thoughts are very shallow. Even more stupid than pigs.
I'm talking about you. Focus and listen. The spirit angrily pointed at Tran Trong Nin. Seeing his indifferent demeanor made this guy furious.
Suddenly at this moment from the sky, a series of colorful golden lights appeared.
Simultaneously.
Look quickly, the divine light has reappeared.
The eyes of the contestants looked up in amazement. Also extremely curious. Because the main god's selection is over.
So why is there more divine light appearing? While the crowd was still confused. Then these divine lights are faster.
Flew over the heads of the contestants.
Seeing this scene, the spirit loudly explained.
Remember that. If you choose
to give up the divine power blessings of the main gods,
means you will also not receive any help
from the main gods
in the next competition. So these remaining divine blessings,
along with the spirit's words,
divine light shot at some other contestants, making them surprised,
will of course be passed on to others.
Voice filled with joy.
This person's refusal
will be someone else's happiness.
The expression of the leading contestant.
Each person with a complex emotion. I don't know what I'm thinking.
A young man laughed when he heard it.
Like finding gold, ah. To be chosen by the main god instead. Some others looked on with admiration. That person only achieved 63 potential strategic points in the test.
And yet to be chosen by the main god, how interesting. At this time, the spirit had a pompous expression.
The main gods wouldn't want to waste a second. A minute for those who don't know what's good for them. That body will have the arrogance of a god. You guys. Do you want to refuse like those people just now?
Hearing it asked, they immediately puffed out their chests and swore to refuse.
Are you kidding me? This is the main god's divine power blessing. I will not be stupid. Like those blind people.
As soon as the words fell, the divine light circulated around their bodies.
This group also felt the aura circulating in their bodies, equivalent to powerful divine light pouring into their bodies, creating a powerful vortex of spiritual energy. Tornadoes shooting out.
The ones who received the divine light.
Everyone felt their bodies getting stronger and stronger. Oh my god, this divine power is amazing. I've never been exposed to the law of reincarnation before.
But under the guidance of divine power, I have realized the original law of reincarnation.
This means that, in terms of realm,
are now equivalent to that Naklan Nudu. Some even dared to rely on this divine blessing. He also has faith
to fight Tran Trong Nin.
Those who were buffed, their strength increased.
Means bigger guts. Witnessing this scene, the strongest young men before all had different expressions.
Some smirked, some bowed their heads.
I don't know what's going on in my mind.
The outcome of this interstellar competition
is still uncertain.
These buffed guys are confident. Their voices unconsciously more arrogant. This made Tran Trong Nin feel more amused.
Less boring. When these gods actively interfered in the competition. But because of lack of experience, he didn't know the reason either. Looks like he needs to find a way to contact with the two gods, Dula and his wife.
These guys are angels.
Maybe they will know a little bit about the inside story. After completing the blessing of the main city, then happily said to everyone, all right. The god selection time is over. Now you choose. Choose the location of the cave you want to go to. After saying that,
pointed to the glowing caves behind. The interstellar competition will begin in 10 minutes.
Remember that. Ranking first in the potential strategy test doesn't mean you will always be ranked first. Also, it ranks first in the position selection. Also doesn't mean you can sit in that position forever.
The so-called blessing in disguise
is to see if you have the guts
to dare to face the dangers ahead.
Or not. Risk will always come with great results for those who dare to take risks. Lamb Kentucky immediately calculated in his mind The first position is really too ostentatious. Very easy to be noticed. Standing on the top of the wave. Refusing the main god's blessing. Was an unexpected move for him. Want to learn from others. But better later. Still have to be more careful. After listening to the spirit explaining the rules. Everyone from the square below, led by Ngocilan Nudu, flew up to find their cave. Lamb 7 chose cave number 7. Because he thinks his name is Lamb. At home, he was also ranked 7th on the altar. So this 7th position must be for him. At this time, Lamb 7 was still wondering. Suddenly he glanced to the side. Then saw Tran Nen, who was wearing a mask, observing. This strange guy gave himself a divination, thinking that number 6 will be his lucky and prosperous number. In this contest, Lam Non was also speechless. There are also such lucky choices. What position should I choose below? Best is to choose a location as far away from the crowd as possible. He doesn't like being noticed. He looked towards Ngocilan Nudu standing proudly in front. Forget the top spot. That empress is strong and power-hungry. She definitely doesn't want to share the top spot. With anyone, he's not afraid of her. But he has to do it. If he can't control his power, he will have to repent. Eat fast and recite Buddha. He turned to Tran Trong Nen. Brother Tran, have you decided on a position yet? Tran Trong Nen replied calmly. Ha 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 ha. From the beginning, I decided to go to cave number 1. Tran Trong Nen's expression was calm. This made the young man who had cultivated for 10,000 years admire him very much. Admire a lot. Brother Tran is so brave. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm. But before he could finish, Tran Trong Nen patted his shoulder and interrupted. I remember you. Deep Tu Lam. Very nice name, very meaningful. This made him a little embarrassed. His face wasn't as thick as Tran Trong Nen's. At this time, Tran Trong Nen leaned closer to Deep Tu Lam's face. Whispered with a dangerous smile, besides. Thank you for not breaking the tablet. He knew this guy was still hiding his true cultivation. After saying that, he turned and left. Don't forget to wave goodbye. So see you in the official competition. He was happy. While Deep Tu Lam looked devastated. Like he just got slapped in the face. He just kept silent. Watched Tran Trong Nen fly away to choose a cave. After Tran Trong Nen's figure disappeared, he stroked his chin thoughtfully. I tried my best not to cause a commotion. I wanted to play the underdog. But someone still recognized me. Interesting, if it's him. He could withstand my full-powered attack. Couldn't he? After all, this guy has no idea how strong I am. So he decided. I'll just observe for now. I can't make a move too early. He chose the number 188, almost at the bottom. As he was about to enter, a voice from behind surprised him. This is truly a cave built by the angels. It's filled with spiritual energy. It's much larger than it looks from the outside. And we chose the same spot. You wanted to find a place with less attention, didn't you? The blue-haired woman asked Deep Tu Lam softly. But in her heart, it was the opposite. From the beginning, she had intentionally clung to this golden thigh. Mak Tun, if you form an alliance with me, you'll gain a huge advantage. Not seeing anything. Huge. Except her 2 grapefruits. Deep Tu Lam was speechless. He turned and walked away. He turned and walked away. He just wanted to find a quiet place. To be alone. He didn't want to interact with too many people. So he wasn't happy that she chose the same cave. He wasn't happy. All the caves had been assigned. Everyone had found their spots. All eyes were now on the first spot. Tran Trangan walked towards the entrance. And saw Ngocilan Nudu standing there. He chuckled. Mississippi, you're blocking my way. Seeing him, she was displeased. Her eyes flashed, her chest puffed out, ready to fight. The first spot can't be occupied by 2 people at the same time. I chose this place first. You can go find another spot. She spoke as if giving an order. She wasn't afraid of him shattering the divine tablet. As the Empress of Tai Luang Nu Quoc, she feared no one.
She was ready to fight for the #1 spot.
Tran Trangan and Ngoc Lan Nude were arguing over cave #1. Logically, this spot should belong to me. There are still second and third spots. Why don't you go there? He had shattered the tablet, so the #1 spot should be his. But the Empress was stubborn. The last name displayed in the #1 spot on the tablet is mine. Tran Trangan was speechless. This is my second time participating in the intergalactic tournament. I must win this time and reach the pinnacle of my life. Her eyes blazed with determination. Any obstacle would be swept away. I will not yield. Go back to second place or somewhere else, she ordered. This gave Tran Trangan a headache. Dealing with women always gave him indigestion. Damn it. And now he encountered a stubborn one. Only pollination could solve this problem. You want to fight me? His male pride wouldn't allow him to submit. He wouldn't be ridden. The Empress stepped closer, her magnificent breasts pressing against him. If that's what you want. She said nothing more and drew her sword. But as she moved, Tran Trangan's divine power pressed down on her, gripping her arm. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't pull her arm free. When upper body strength failed, she spread her legs and flexed her glutes. Her entire body surged with spiritual energy, trying to break free from Tran Trangan's grasp. Tran Trangan tightened his grip and challenge. If you can move, even just a little, or draw your sword, I'll give you the first spot. He spoke with a smug look, his eyes fixed on her. This infuriated her. She was about to unleash her ultimate technique. You dare underestimate me? She roared, as they were growling at each other, exchanging passionate glances. The spirit appeared out of nowhere. The tournament hasn't even started. And you're already fighting? They were both startled. They released each other. The spirit laughed awkwardly. You can fight anyone you want. But let me remind you. Those who choose the same cave are allies in this battle. He was trying to be helpful. But Ngoc Lan Nude said coldly. I don't need allies. I just want. The spirit interrupted. That's not up to you. It's the rule. It then ignored them. It seems you've all chosen your caves. Now listen carefully. Before entering the final competition area, the 4 major regions, East, West, South, and North, will undergo 3 rounds of elimination battles. The remaining contestants will face other strong contestants from the other regions in the final battle to determine the winner. In the first round, you'll be randomly teleported to different locations, such as lava volcanoes, poisonous swamps, deep seas, or the abyss. And in the center is a plain. Within these areas, you'll compete against other alliances to earn points. The first round lasts 5 days. Those who earn 200 points and reach the windless plain will pass. Having points but failing to reach the plain means failure. As for how to earn points, you'll find out soon enough. The time has come. I wish you all good luck. As the spirit finished speaking, circles of light appeared under each contestant, teleporting them randomly. Naklan Nude held Tran Trangan's hand. So before leaving, she threatened. You better pray that you don't end up in the same place as me. Hearing her threat, he glanced at her and smirked. What can you do to me? Are you planning to pollinate with me? This made her furious. They didn't argue further. The teleportation activated, taking them to their first competition location. The others were teleported as well. Only the spirit remained. He sighed in relief. It's finally begun. These contestants this year are all stubborn troublemakers. They gave him a headache. His little heart was racing. Suddenly, a powerful divine force appeared, startling the spirit. A scroll tore through space, flying towards him. This is an urgent order from the angels. Moreover,
They broke through the laws of spacetime to deliver this message.